Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, all right, all right. How are we doing? No, you're lucky I'm here at all. I drank last night. You know how uncommon that is for me? I'm living the straight edge lifestyle. I got back to my beautiful beloved partner's place after a comedy show. We saw Stavros of Cumtown fame. Great show, fantastic show. Basically never been to a comedy show before, so I was kind of expecting to at least to an extent, because I what I'm doing is at least 50% stand-up comedy, but much, much, much easier. I was kind of expecting to spend most of the show like folding my arms and saying like, I think I could have delivered that joke 16% funnier. But nah, it was actually really funny. That was just like opening cynicism. It was great. Um, Knocked the house down. What'd you drink, Vosh? Like a 0.2% cider? No, well, we kind of had to homebrew a drink when we got back, and my beloved partner didn't have much to work with. So it was tangerine juice, vodka, some grenadine, and it was too sweet. So we wanted some acidity to cut it, and they didn't have limes, so I poured some pickle juice from a pickle jar into it, and then salt around the rim. It was okay. I mean, it cut the sweet. No fucking I didn't put that much in. I cut the sweet. Cuts the sweet with gross. Yeah, I mean, it makes it less overwhelming. The pickler. Don't like sugar in my drinks. Yuck. Sounds like a you problem. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know? I mean, I like jalapeno drinks. So yeah, yeah, no, I like drinks with a bit of kick. I like a Bloody Mary. I liked the what pupus that I had in Barcelona, where it was like a shot, but there was like Tabasco in it. Those were really good. I think they were dudu. They were called the dudus. Yes. So I had like six, and then stumbled around the city drunk. Um, that's very good. Like mezcal. I like yeah. It's a mix of flavors, but most of the drinks I have are just like really sweet. So I can't really have them that often while I'm dieting because a big sugary cocktail is like 600 calories. You know, I'd prefer to eat my calories. What kind of jokes did he make? I'm not spoiling the routine. Okay, this was a no record show. You got to go and see it. It was really good. It was worth the money. I didn't realize Stavros was that bowling ball shaped. I knew he was round. I didn't know he was that squat. He's like 5 feet tall. It's incredible. Really added to the comedy. Kind of like overpowered, to be honest, for comedic purposes. You know? Sneak a few jokes for us on the down low. Okay, I'll do one. What if instead of a 6 item or less line at the grocery store, there was a 6 inches or less line at the grocery store? So, like, if your dick's small, you get to check out faster. Now, if he sues me for that, I'm blaming you guys for that one. Consider that like a sneak peek, like a little taste. Go see the show. It's really good. It's really good. Reparations for misandry. I know that. I know that. I know that. I know I go back and forth on this. I know I go back and forth on this, but like every once in a while I'm like an anti-misandry crusader. Don't you guys ever like have a moment where you're like, wait a second, this isn't like a real problem? Do you ever like have that moment? There was a post on Twitter that went viral, and it was the meme of like a guy breaking the chains, and it was like my abuser killed herself or something. My abuser slash rapist killed herself. Um and it was like, normally when people make posts like that, the rapist is a guy. But this time it was a girl, and it had like 300K likes or something. Like overwhelmingly people are like, yay. But there were some people, you know, radfems or whatever, who got like, you know, 27 comments, 2 retweets, 17 likes on their tweets saying like, I salute her. I stand with her. Or not funny. It doesn't hit when it's a girl who dies or something. But it's like, damn, man. If we want to go like bar for bar, misandry versus misogyny, you know, literally like every single post celebrating women on Twitter is getting quote retweeted by neo-Nazis who are like followed by JD Vance, and they're getting like 15,000 likes, you know? And it's like, why are we focusing on this? In what situation is the misandry angle really the hard hitting? I mean, it's because and the real red pill you have to accept at the end of the day is that they're two sides of the same coin. Because the only reason people denigrate men who are victims of sexual violence is because of the expectation that men are always sexually willing, that they're stronger and therefore can't be weak. Like, they're the same argument, just from both sides of it, right? Like, the argument that women are too weak to be socially useful is the argument that makes men get drafted. You know what I mean? Like, it's tit for tat on that one. It goes back and forth. It's the same issue, basically. Basically, just you know, don't let them divide us. Yeah, misandrist feminists think just like misogynists. Yeah, yeah, they're basically just doing it from the other angle, you know? Like, you know, shaking hands, men are inherently violent rapists, women are docile, you know, sexually unaggressive and need to be protected from men. It's like, it's the same thing. It's just a matter of like which direction you're pushing the antagonism in. Common horseshoe theory. I don't even think it's horseshoe theory. I just think it's the same thing. I was trying to find the post, but I couldn't find it. It doesn't really matter anyway. I've described all the information relevant to the, you know, to the issue. Single point theory. Hey, speaking of the patriarchy, you guys see this? This gave me a good laugh. I really hope this isn't fake because it's so funny. Hey, I know we said no expectations. Getting to know you this past week has been nice, but how high is the percentage of us having sex? I just don't want to waste each other's time. I feel like we have talked a good while, and I want to know how you feel. These conversations are important to bring up so we're still on the same page. 0%. That's actually insane. Like, do you even hear yourself? You really think you're that untouchable? Like, I was literally giving you an opportunity, being a good guy, and this is the energy you hit me with? That's actually embarrassing for you. And let's be real, you're not even all that. Like, I was willing to overlook some things because I thought you had a good personality, but you're just one of those girls who gets off on rejecting guys for no reason. I was literalty, that's how you know it's not AI, thank God. Just trying to see where things could go, being chill, and you come at me with 0%. Like, okay, relax. You're acting like I was begging or something. Newsflash, I wasn't. If anything, this was your loss. Honestly, this just makes it easier for me. You're actually giving way more friend energy than anything else. So I think it's best if we just keep it that way. Like, I wouldn't even be into you anymore after this, so it's whatever. You seem like a cool little sister type anyway. Maybe I can even help you talk to guys in the future so you don't come across so weirdly aggressive. Anyway, I don't have time for this. I was being nice, but clearly that was a mistake. Good luck out there, or whatever. It's one of those things where you would assume that it's fake unless you've interacted with men romantically, and then you know there's a very decent shot of it being real. You know? That's so embarrassing. Yeah, for her, like he said, you know? That's actually embarrassing for you. That's what I mean. Gonna walk into a pond with rocks in my pocket. Classic consequence of talking to men. Except for Stavros. Go see the show. Oh, it's definitely real. Every girl has seen this. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of guys, you know? I mean, I've been on Grindr. Though usually conversations in Grindr don't really reach a point where anyone's invested to the point that they're putting this many words in. A friend showed me an almost identical convo they had a Grindr yesterday. Well, never the fuck mind. Maybe I'm just not hot enough. The effort this man put into those texts are a little scary. Yeah, you know, it like really burns at them. They put a lot. It's never. Nah, whatever. I hate this because I feel like I'm in it. What, do you do that? I think it's okay to do something like that, but like dialed down um every once in a while, but only if they earn it. Like without context, you have to assume that the guy's in the wrong. But there's always that 1% chance that a crash out is a little warranted. And I think we have to open space for that, you know? It's kind of like accepting that everyone's a little cringe, right? Like every once in a while, you know, sometimes things just don't work out and you're like, okay, I thought things were going better, but I guess I was wrong. And I guess maybe I misread that signal that one time, but like, to be fair, I did literally ask you. And like, yeah, you need like, you get like a voucher for a little. I'm not, again, like, I'm not saying the worst version of this or this guy specifically gets that voucher. I'm saying like, there's, I'm just saying we should keep space open, you know? We're holding space. We're hearing, we're listening, and so on. Type shit. Never forget about nuance. No, you have to. If I'm exactly like that, what should I do? I would say you probably shouldn't message somebody that you're not having sex with and ask them, how high is the percentage of us having sex? That's pretty much like where it all went wrong, I would say. That was like there's it's very difficult to recover from that, you know? Yeah, you should never ask a percentage. The percentage is either 100% or 0 as far as like the heart is concerned, you know? So you don't want to open from that perspective. "50-50, it happens or it doesn't." That's pretty true. Why do people see getting therapy as an insult? I mean, it kind of is, because you're saying you need therapy, but that guy probably does need therapy. So it's also, like, true. You know? Like, it's, you know, it's also an insult to say, like, hey, man, you're crashing the fuck out. I think you need to take a step back. Like, that's also an insult, right? But it's also true. Like, it could be true in an insult. A guy once asked me how many days it would take for me, and it would take for me until he could ask me out again. What a considerate king. I get what you mean, Chase Watkins, but the problem is, like, if you interact with people in real life, it's actually shocking how few people understand basic nuances. I shouldn't even say basic nuances, just like the ground rules of conversation. And I'm not going to say it's always men. I'm just going to say it's like 99% of the time it's guys. It's not even an autism thing. I'm pretty sure women get autism more or something, or I don't know, scientists haven't, behavioral therapists haven't figured it out yet. I don't know. It's just like so many guys see women as like a goal rather than a person that it just completely fucks their ability to understand any kind of it. Like so much of socializing a guy in opposition to like the general climate, like the way they'd be socialized, I guess, by default, is just like, seriously, you can just treat her normally. And then the guy's like, well, what's normally? And it's like, well, okay, you interact with lots of people normally. Just do that. It's like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? You just do that. And if you like them, you treat them like a person that you like. Which you have people that you like. So many guys want possessions, not partners. Yeah, it's like whenever I see those the like crypto bro Silicon Valley tech guy incel posting about how, they don't actually want a relationship because women are annoying or whatever. They just want like someone to fuck, which I guess it's nice that they're being honest about it. I've heard so many girls who just want to talk to a guy who doesn't want to hit and takes regular showers. Yeah, the standards are the bar is pretty low. Bar is pretty fucking low. The normative hetero relationship falls apart the moment the man sees the woman as a human being. I don't think that's necessarily true, but I do agree that there are lots of women who are socialized to like not want what's best for them in a way that makes them basically like impossible to talk to, Like there are lots of it's really there's so many versions of this, right? Like with white girls, it's like, well, I just like white country girls, it's like, well, I don't care about voting. I just want like a nice farm boy to settle down with or whatever. You see this like black guys are always complaining about black girls saying they want like gang members to impress them with audacious acts of criminality and like shit they steal or whatever, and it's like, for one, no, you don't want that, and for two, seriously, like, come on. There's just like versions of this across every and it's all like the same demon, right? Audacious acts of criminality. Yeah, you know why? You know why? Because I didn't want to say hood shit. Do you want that next time? What I did, respectfully, by the way, was I made the sentence as white as possible to acknowledge cultural distance. I can say hood shit. I don't give a fuck. I can say worse than that. But I listen and I learn. I've got the T-shirt when a black woman is speaking. I'm listening and learning. Okay, I'm not, and so for that reason, I acknowledge and I take a step back. This is a level of social conscientiousness, by the way, that you all could stand to benefit from a little bit. I would say maybe we would have fewer people doing shit like this if more of them would be willing to say audacious acts of criminality rather than hood shit when talking about black girls who want like a thug gang member BF to impress her by hot wiring a car or something. You know. Audacious acts of criminality, he said wokely. Yes, you got it. You got it. Not gonna lie, if you know how to hotwire a car that's still kind of hot. Uh-oh. The pink dots in chat are talking. Don't let women talk about what they're into. You don't want to get blackpilled. Watch a crime movie and the girl, the girl you're with is like, "Oh my God." And it's like the ugliest man you've ever seen. And he just hit a stripper. And she's like, "Damn." And she like bites her lip. And you have to be like, "Okay. I understand that men as a group fetishize a lot of stuff that's not necessarily good for them, but the misogyny levels are rising a little bit. We need to dial it down. You're affirming bad political movements, okay?" Heard a girl say it's a turn on when guys drive with one hand, brain completely cooked. You think she like had a pivotal, a psychosexual moment growing up while watching that Simpsons skit, Black guys drive their cars like this and white guys drive their cars like this. And from that point on, the neurons connected and it was all over from there. It's true. We're so lame. Ah, classic. I drive one-handed because stick shift. I drive one-handed because I'm looking at Temple Runner videos on my phone. It's just boring, man. That's good. You're staying focused. That's what I mean. People are like, you're distracted. And I'm like, how? I'm keeping my attention levels up. Knew a girl who said speeding was a turn on. That, I mean, I don't know how many of you are just like 18. So the girls you're talking about are also 18, because when you're young, there's so much shit that when you're older is stupid that is actually a turn on or whatever. Because speeding when you're young is like, oh my God, you know, the wind is rolling by, the music is blasting loud, finally freedom, fuck my mom, fuck my dad, I can do whatever I want. And speeding, once you're over like that phase of your life, is like, actually, speeding doesn't increase the likelihood of you arriving at your destination faster, because you're always going to be slowed down both by the speed of traffic and by any red lights or stop signs that you hit. So actually, you're risking you're increasing by 42% the chance of you having an accident, to only increase the rate at which you get there by 3%, which, you know, if you average that out over a long period of time, like it's just not worth it. Nerd. I think that speeding makes you a nerd in the sense that it betrays a lack of basic social competence, you know? There are so many fucking people. Now, okay, now I'm talking about real speeding, by the way, not the standard like 10 over that everyone does on every freeway in America, okay? Except in Vermont, apparently. I'm not talking about the, you know, just following the speed of traffic. I'm talking about people who are actually speeding, you know? Speeding usually isn't efficient. No, it's not. It's just it's antisocial. It's just like it's another example of people being poor citizens when they're behind the wheel, you know? It's like the equivalent of blasting music through modified speakers that rattle all of the houses nearby, you know? I never understood how dudes feel the need to go 110 when every other car is already going 80. Well, when I see that, I just imagine the guy who's speeding is like teeth chattering angry. Like I imagine like a divorced dad who can't get any thrills in his life anymore except for like the you know, the adrenaline that it gets by needlessly skirting the speed rules. Like it doesn't, it's not impressive to me. Much the same way with like blasting music out of the car. It's like I'm not assuming you're having a good time in there, having your eardrums rattled. I'm assuming you're doing it to show off, and it's not impressive, you know? 30s brain. I felt that way in my 20s too. The music thing is that your autism, you just hate music. Contrarianism again, that's, you know what I mean when I say blasting music. I do not mean like playing it at a high volume in your car. I mean when they get the bass modifications to their car that rattles the windows of the houses they pass by. If you think that shit's acceptable, then frankly, like, you don't share any social project with me. You can't do that and then go, I want walkable communities. You're a fucking hypocrite, okay? You mean hood shit? No, I mean audacious acts of criminality. I mean audacious acts of musicality. What do you want from me? Street racing and performance driving are not the same thing. Well, street racing is also antisocial, which, by the way, everyone agrees with if they've been around it. Literally everyone. You know? No one likes them, except for the people doing it. But Fast and Furious is cool. Yeah, but they don't look like Fast and Furious. Art student Bish, you wouldn't be asking me to not mute you if you weren't spamming the same link over and over. Like you can't say, here's the third time I'm posting this. By the way, don't mute me. Like now you're just telling me that you're aware of the fact that I saw it every time. I'm sorry. No, you're not. If you were sorry, you wouldn't have done it. There's street racing and then street racing, big difference. I don't I'm not I'm sorry. I'm not audaciously criminal enough to understand the difference between street racing and street racing, okay? Sorry. You want to buy a good pair of wool trousers? Probably your local surplus store. I don't know. I actually hate the car subwoofer shit. That is actually ruptured eardrums. It should be illegal. Oh, it is. It is literally like a disruption of the. But cops are fucking useless, so they're not going to do shit about it. Like they can be pulled over for that. It is assault. Um, but cops are useless. They're too busy. I don't know, turning on their sirens for 1 second so they can run red lights or whatever the fuck. Harassing homeless people. Cops also don't pull over speeders. Well, it depends on where you are. Opinion on tinted windows? I mean, I don't really give a shit. There's like a limit to it, right? Opinion on cracked windshields? It's good to be cracked, right? That's the slang? All right. That's enough. A guy drove through my neighborhood in a Cadillac literally 5 minutes ago. The speakers were so loud I could feel it in my bones. I guess I don't know. I guess I feel like death penalty. I don't know. I hate people. I hate people who engage in antisocial behavior in vehicles, man. It's crazy. It's so much worse than engaging in it like as a pedestrian. You know? You're in like a steel tank. You're in like a insulated air conditioned cage and you're just randomly you're just like shooting out the window, you know? What are you doing? How do you get revenge against people blasting you? You don't get revenge. Do you just seethe about it and stay mad your whole life or move to an area where it's not really an issue? You could call the police for disturbing the peace. Yeah, but they never fucking do anything. They're useless. They're fucking useless. Cops are fucking useless. Absolutely useless. You might get them to do something like that in a small town where they have literally nothing else to do and no homeless people to kick, but outside of that, total waste of time. They were useless before that crash in New Orleans. Back problems and a tripping hazard. New Orleans officials still resisted anti-ramming barriers after deadly vehicle attack. What? This is all the rage now, by the way. This is like the new crime wave, by the way. And I see this shit all the time in Seattle, where people will like steal a vehicle. Not this specifically, but people will steal a vehicle and then ram it into a shop storefront and then go and steal the stuff and then leave. And they leave the vehicle there because it's stolen anyway. So I mean, that's kind of smart. Yeah, but it's also kind of like a problem, man. There are good places in Seattle that have been getting robbed like that. Wasn't this going on in San Francisco? Well, it's just been happening more lately, you know? That's why most jewelry stores have a set of bollards in front of the windows over here. We're turning into like South Africa, man. In terms of like level of social distrust, it's getting so much worse so quickly. It's crazy. It's not even a matter of like how many crimes are happening. It's just a matter of like what the environment is outside when you step outside. Like in some parts of America, you like walk outside, it's fucking mission survive, you know? Get on out there, don't interact with anyone, keep your collar up, you know, don't make eye contact. And it's like, Jesus Christ, crime is down. I got the police called on me for knocking on someone's door asking to use their Wi-Fi to get an Uber. There you go with that low trust society shit. Jesus. What brand is your denim jacket from? Double RL. Why would anyone do that? Because they think they're getting robbed or something. It isn't so much a low trust society problem as it is a weak, scared, pathetic individual problem. Yeah, but that's the low trust society thing. That's what that means. It takes strength to trust people. Can you look over this Supreme Court case? We looked over it a few days ago. I'm not surprised the woman's going to win. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the case. It's really just a question of whether or not people from a majority group that is protected need to meet a higher standard to prove they've been discriminated against than people from a minority group, which isn't really legally tenable, you know? You seen that distressed lady? From Wild Content No Cap Media. No, I usually go out of my way uh to not consume videos from shit like this. It is so fucked up that we have no private society anymore, and any moment of weakness on your part is going to be broadcasted online in public. In like, this is a doorbell camera. You know, like, what is this? Sure, I'll make content out of it. I don't give a fuck. It's already been brought to my attention. I haven't seen this at all. Wait, hold on. She doesn't get like her tits out or anything, right? Nothing I can't show. Okay, she doesn't. All right, that's sort of the upper bound on what YouTube will allow.
I don't know if you're seeing this. My name is. You can write it down.
Well, they censor that. That's
girl.
good.
I'm missing right now. I'm trying to get back to my best friend's house.
You'll be right there.
House.
What do you want?
Okay. My name is. I don't know if you've ever heard of my name, and I'm on. The only thing I've been on is, and I promise you that you can.
You go to the house.
If you don't believe me,
Listen, can you go to the house?
I'm trying to.
Listen to me.
I'm sorry. I'm so.
Listen to me. Go to the house.
I'm so sorry if I woke you guys up. If you want me to leave, I can.
I did see, like, I don't understand what the utility is of posting this.
My house is just down there, and I don't feel safe walking because multiple men have stopped by and honked at me, and I don't know what the.
Go to the house next door. Go next door. Don't go to my house.
Okay.
Go next door.
Like, what's the message? The message here is don't do drugs? Is that really like the message that we're taking from this? And not like it's insane to not like help her? Just with no other context provided? What a good Christ-like old lady. Yeah. Absolute state of community right now. Yeah, like, conservatives decry a low-trust country, but they are literally the ones who make it that way. Like, they're the ones who lynched Ahmaud Arbery. They're the ones who kill fucking, you know, they support, like, random cop lynchings if the cop feels even remotely threatened. They're the ones who want, like, open carry, fucking stand-your-ground laws. Florida, anytime a water bottle hits your car, you blind fire, drop 18 9mm rounds out your car into everything around you. Like, they're the low-trust society motherfuckers, okay? And the tag here, don't do drugs? Really? Like, that's what we're getting from this? She might be psychotic. This lady? Yeah, she's like fucked up or something. Okay, whatever. Like, I guess I just don't understand what a lot of people think is going to occur as a consequence of this. Like, the girl's gonna lead you out, and then, like, it was a trap. I'm actually here to randomly murder you. And then she pulls a gun from her skin-tight outfit and shoots you. I just don't understand the play-by-play. Oh, 1 second. These damn cats, man. Okay, what was I saying? That's kind of sexist. To not assume she's a threat? You know what? Yeah. Sue me. What are you gonna do? Take my YouTube channel away? Yeah. To be fair, she could have friends hiding out of sight to force themselves through the door unironically. Okay, this is what I mean. Why? Why? Like, what do you, like, oh, they got the door open? A person came out. You know, if you want, like, a person exits the house. Okay, a person exits the house all the time. What do you mean? Like, what? I don't understand. If people want to break into your house, they can break into your house. It's not... You don't need a plan. What if there's people waiting outside your door every time you leave? What are you talking about? Why do you even lock your doors then? You do know that, like, the practice of locking your house's doors is mostly a cope, right? Like, all it is. Security systems, locking doors. If a person wants to get into your house, they can get into your house. They're there as, like, a firm but polite barrier, you know, a little bit of a little, like a fence. Do you think a fence stops people from getting in? Of course it doesn't. But it's like a, you know, past this point, keep in mind, you know. Yeah, to prove somebody broke in rather than just open the door. People are so brain broken by crime scare shit. Yeah, it's just crazy that, like, way more people kept their doors unlocked when crime was higher. Like, crime now is way lower than it was back in the early 90s, late 80s. But back then, way more people kept their doors unlocked. Of course, crime did happen back then. I just don't... I'm not saying you shouldn't be careful. I'm saying that there are severe social consequences, long-term, like society-wide, to this kind of paranoia. A good example would be kids never play outside anymore because there was a big, like, fear wave in the 90s, early 2000s of kids getting kidnapped. Not being schizo, here's proof people do this. Demo boy, I'm not saying people can't do this. You went back and you found an article from a decade ago. Sure, it can happen. Well, okay, anything could happen. You could go outside and a dude could just mug you. Like, this is what I mean. Oh, no, I'm vindicated in not helping out this poor crying woman. Look, 10 years ago, someone else in this country of 330 million was victimized using a somewhat comparable tactic. Like, do you see what I mean? What if a bomb drops in your head right now? Yeah, I guess the main thing for me is just the fact that the old lady didn't even ask, like, hey, are you okay? Do you need help? Like, all the old lady did was scream, go next door or something, which is about, like, the worst possible thing she could have done. And then, yeah, post it online, I guess. Remember that, like, obsessive... that like genre of TikTok white woman posting, like women who live in the suburbs of you know, Illinois or whatever, and they're like, hey, if you ever see like a receipt paper that's near your car, like next to it, that's actually a trap, because if you bend down to pick it up, someone will rape you. And then it gets like 300K likes, and a bunch of wine moms are like, holy shit. It's, you know? Yeah, candy wrapper under the car. Human traffickers are targeting you. Go, go, go! Didn't we mock those people for being paranoid? Yeah, we still are. It's the point. We're still doing that. Nuts, you are cruising for a bruising. It's been like every damn time I see a post from you. Vosh, this is such brain-dead hypocrisy. You do realize the same logic for locking your doors is the same logic women have for preferring the bear? No? Because we're talking about disregarding the potential of this woman being victimized. We're not talking about like a personal decision that only affects you and your preference. You can choose who you want to spend time with. Or, you know, the bear thing is more of an argument about like the predation of men broadly, but she's saying she's being predated upon by men. You can lock your door. I lock my doors. Talking about like low trust society shit in general, you know? Was it with this chat being antisocial? Well, we're kind of like singling out, you know, a few people. But, you know, at the same time, like, this stuff is... I don't know. You could at least ask her, like, hey, could you calm down and explain the situation or something like that? I don't know. Don't do drugs. That's true, though. You shouldn't do drugs. There's a difference between being irrationally terrified about a receipt by your car and being cautious about a guy behind you on the street at 1 a.m. Yeah, sure. Like, that's fair. But could we acknowledge a bit of, like, nuance? You know? Like, there might be a bit of a gradient to this. Like, if it's 1 a.m. and you're walking home and there's a guy walking behind you, like, 100 feet back or something, I think that being on edge in that situation could be pretty warranted, depending on, like, where you are and maybe stuff like that. But there might be kind of, like, a bit of a gulf between that and, like, you know, woman in distress asks for your help, fuck you, go next door. Like, there might be some kind of middle ground. I'd like to believe there is, personally. When I canvassed for Jen Perlman, I went to a few houses, knocked on the door, and when no answer, just put the pamphlet in the door. And as I turned around to leave, a mic from a Ring camera would blare, screaming to get off their property. Like I hadn't done anything and I was actively leaving, and I'd get shouted down via the mic. You know, it really is insane. It genuinely is insane. Yeah, how, like, reflexively paranoid. It's a lot of old people, too, right? This shit's the worst in the South. Like, or maybe not the South, but like deep rural areas where people are like got their hand in their shotgun or whatever when they open the door. To be fair, the South is where crime is at the highest. Yeah, but not in like those rural areas. No, whatever. Would you say conservative culture is more high trust than liberal culture? No, literally like the exact opposite. Like literally everything the conservatives say about society is low trust on every level. It's like it is like the level of difference between low trust and high trust behavior is as deep a divide between liberals and conservatives as like being pro or anti trans rights. Like it's a very 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 sharp divide. You know? No, either way. Okay, I'm happy to see from the comments, especially because this is Twitter, which is like a Hitler website now. Bro, what the fuck? She's harmless. Let her in. Call 911. The reason America failed is because there's no sense of community, no shared responsibility. You can't just live as a society, caring for each other, welcoming strangers for a cup of tea. This person was asking for help, but because we don't like her life choices, she's suddenly unworthy for help. That's nice. Okay, I'm happy to hear that, or happy to see that, I guess. Okay, close this, close that, close this, close that. All right, what do we got in the docket this fine day before a vet appointment? Cuomo! He's back! Well, he's better than Eric Adams. Yay! You know, going from governor to mayor, like it's actually a step up in this one case, right? Like I feel like being governor of New York is probably a less influential position than being mayor of New York City. Fuck, he looks like a ghoul. You know, he looks like what's his name? Eric Gomez? Well, no, Eric Adams. No, not Eric Adams. Fuck, that's the other guy. Gomez Adams? What am I thinking of? From the Adams family. He looks like a very aged up, like he opened the Ark of a Covenant. You know what I mean? It was Gomez Adams. Okay, yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe it's like the line from his lip that makes it look like he has a little mustache. I don't know. That's the Italian genes coming through. Yeah, even if you shave the mustache, you know, your body will find a way. It is yet unclear whether voters are willing to give Cuomo another chance following his remarkable downfall 3.5 years ago. Castigated for his behavior with women, questioned about his response to the pandemic. Hey, at least he's not like a plant from the Republican Party, right? Again, it's like such a downgrade, but it's like, you know, like Eric Adams, in addition to being extremely corrupt, is at this point literally an agent of the Republican Party. So, you know, it is a downgrade from Eric Adams? I don't know. Plus, him being accused of sexual harassment, that'll probably win him some big support from young men in the city. He's going to carry the vote. Oh, he's already polling like way above anyone else. He was polling way above anyone else before he even announced his candidacy. He was just teasing it. Here, I want to see the announcement video. Hold on. Give me the announcement.
Hello, I'm Andrew Cuomo. Let me start by telling you what you already know. New York City is the greatest city in the world. There is no other...
Nah, he's the Democratic establishment if they were a mob boss family instead of a bunch of slugs. But Eric Adams isn't a slug, though. Eric Adams is, at this point, literally a captured agent of the Trump administration. Like, it's like it is, at this point, it's like a Democrat versus Republican race between Eric Adams and Cuomo. You know?
Other place like it. And as in life, we have had times when we are at our shining best. And there are times when we struggle and endure great hardship.
Must have been so hard for you,
but we also
getting accused of all that
that we can
sexual
handle a
harassment.
crisis, because we have. We recently did it together through COVID.
Which you
And we
handled
know
wonderfully.
that the first step towards solving a problem is having the strength, having the courage to recognize it. And we know that today our New York City is in trouble. You feel it when you walk down the street and try not to make eye contact with a mentally ill homeless person.
Wow, we're getting right to it, huh? Okay, I kind of assumed that, as is usually the case, he would lean in more on the, like, euphemism, you know, like kind of gesture at it. But, oh, all right, well, you know what? We appreciate honesty here in this house, don't we?
Or when the anxiety rises up in your chest as you're walking down into the subway. You
I'm
see
going to New York
in
in a
the
few
empty
days.
storefronts, the graffiti, the grime, the migrant influx,
Oh.
the random
Oh, okay, all right, we're... Absolutely.
violence. The city just feels threatening, out of control, and in crisis. These conditions exist not as an act of God, but rather as an act of our political leaders. Or more precisely, the lack of intelligent action by many of our political leaders. But New Yorkers know the simple answer of what to do when there's a crisis in leadership. You lead.
Is Cuomo still an upgrade from Adams? I'm thinking, okay? I'm thinking. I guess, like, my cope on this is that Adams already believes all of this. It's just, I'll admit, a little shocking how direct Cuomo is in calling it out, like, immediately. You know?
You act, you do. I had the honor to serve the public in every level of government. In my 20s, with my father when he was governor, with Mayor David Dinkins on homelessness, with President Bill Clinton as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, where we worked with cities all across the nation, and as New York State Attorney General, and as your governor. I know government can make a positive difference, because we did. Was it easy? No. But together we achieved historic, progressive accomplishments. We did things they said couldn't be done. We changed lives by setting the highest minimum wage in the nation, a 66% increase. We saved lives by enacting the toughest gun violence protection laws in America. We created new families by leading the nation in passing...
This really is... It's like 1990s Democrats, you know? It's tough on crime Democrats. It's just that. I mean, he's been around forever, so it's just, you know, for him, it's like going back to his, what, 40s? Late 30s to get to that?
Marriage equality, which established a new civil right for the LGBTQ community and set a new standard for the country.
That's great.
We created the best...
Every time they do this with Newsman, they're like, okay, we need to find a couple who's like, you know, obviously like that. And I respect... Good for them, you know? I just know that the conversations they're having on the, you know, on the back end. At least he said the T. Yeah, it's, he's not that kind of guy, right? He's not. I remember from the governorship, right? You know, it's not really like it's like a woke Hitler thing, you know? Think like Gavin Newsom, I guess.
We created the best paid family leave program, enshrined Roe v. Wade into state law 3 years before Trump's Supreme Court ended a woman's right to control her own body, enacted the most aggressive green economy program in the country, and highest minority business participation.
That's great.
We showed that government can actually work and get things done, big, hard, important things, and get them done well. A new LaGuardia Airport that went from the worst in the country to the best. The beautiful new Moynihan train station. A new
the new Moynihan train station with no seating. That's the one we looked at on stream, remember? Where it was like, yeah, they hate homeless people so much they put no fucking seating in an entire train station.
Second Avenue subway line. A new Kosciuszko Bridge. And the largest infrastructure project in the nation. Done on time and on budget, the Mario M. Cuomo Bridge.
Wow. New York must have really loved you. Who named it after you, out of curiosity? You know, whose decision was that?
And on top of it all, we faced COVID, which was an historic life and death challenge. And we had it first and worst, with no warning. We were on our own, and we were pushed to our limits, but we got through it together, and we led the nation.
The big hits in my mind are people sending in homemade masks and him making a big wall of them to do press conferences in front of, rather than like anything else, and him having state prison slave labor make overpriced hand sanitizer that was like branded like the New York Cuomo hand sanitizer or whatever the fuck. The nursing homes, right? The nursing homes where he had sick old people go back to the nursing homes and infect everyone else. Yeah.
We didn't do these things because they were easy. They weren't. They were hard, but they were necessary. And today, it is necessary to launch a bold action plan to turn New York City around, to save our city. We now walk down the street passing homeless people living in garbage. And it's become so commonplace that we have become conditioned to think that it is okay, that there's nothing we can do about it.
Would you like, just to like potentially set the tone on this, just maybe a little bit, like back off this, would you like to suggest a solution?
No, it's wrong.
Okay. Gotcha.
It is not advancing civil rights to abandon seriously mentally ill people to the street, allowing them to endanger themselves or others. We are better than that.
Okay.
And they deserve better than that.
Okay.
We must get them the professional help they need.
How?
That is the caring, the loving thing to do.
Okay.
That is what New Yorkers believe is the right thing to do.
Okay.
And that is what a competent, effective government must do.
Okay.
We must attack the crime problem. After politicians have been minimizing the need for police and...
Of course. Can never get around this. Every fucking time, man. The most well-funded police department in the world. A private fucking army. It's always more... Can somebody please point me to the great defunding of the New York City Police Department? The, like, private army that kidnapped the previous mayor's daughter when he stood against them. That got fed up and didn't do their jobs for a bit because they were upset that they were told to not randomly murder people for selling loose cigarettes on the street. And then crime went down.
And cutting funding... We must acknowledge the simple truth that they are just plain wrong, deadly wrong. They set us back. And
NYPD really is the Israel of
fighting crime.
American domestic politics.
Let's remember what Mayor David Dinkins did when he took office, and we had a crime problem. He hired 6,000 new police officers.
That's great.
A 40% increase in force.
That's great.
While today we have fewer cops for a larger city. We need more police and specialized units, and law enforcement must focus on the small number of recidivists.
New York City Police Department's fiscal 2025 budget includes $5.3 billion for personal services to support 48,844 full-time positions. That's great.
Who commit the large number of crimes. We must also restore a relationship of mutual trust and respect between the police and the community. The police have been devalued, and today people don't even want to apply to be police officers. That must change. And our subway system, it was a visionary achievement, demonstrating New York at its best. They began construction in 1900, and in just 4 years built a system that went from City Hall to 145th Street in Manhattan, with 28 stops, including Grand Central and Times Square.
Do you think he stands a chance? He's going to win. I don't think he stands a chance. I think he's already at the finish line. Everything from this point forward is a formality.
Remarkable, really. Government worked, and the subways were safe. But today, people stand with their backs against the walls, away from the tracks, and away from each other, wary, on guard, afraid they might be the next victim.
The police union is one of the most powerful blocks in New York City that kind of have to be placated. Yeah, unfortunately, you literally cannot become New York City mayor unless you pledge fealty to the police department. To not do so would be like a president assuming command without like the Pentagon listening to them. It's impossible.
Afraid of New York at its worst. Why? Because once again, government leadership has failed to perform a basic function: public safety. We need a significant presence of real police, not publicity stunts with short-term efforts. A permanent, significant increase by the city and state, more NYPD, MTA police, state police, whatever is necessary to make our subways safe 24 hours a day. Safe as an alternative to driving, safe for our working men and women, and safe for my daughters and for yours.
Okay.
And we must bring
daughters,
order
no
to
sons?
the chaos of e-bikes on our streets and
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
sidewalks. Pedestrians are getting needlessly hurt and even killed.
You want to run the e-bike injury numbers up against another kind of vehicle you see on the streets of America, perchance? No?
Must end. We must stop talking and actually start building thousands of new affordable units and create thousands of good jobs in the process. Look around you. We know how to build. We built the greatest city on the planet. We built the Empire State Building in 1 year in the middle of the Great Depression. It is basic competence. Government just has to get out of its own way and get it done. Our public housing is 50, 60 years old. Many developments have open areas. We should be transforming them on a large-scale basis to modern mixed-income communities.
The fucked up thing is that the YIMBY answer to housing actually doesn't work as well in places like New York City, because there are some there's some areas where you are basically running at capacity. Like, there are some areas where any additional developments are going to have marginal benefits unless you want to make every single building a mega super alienating skyscraper. The real answer to stuff like this is to adopt more of a Tokyo or like Parisian sensibility, you know, which is you can't just have one downtown. Now, obviously, you know, Manhattan doesn't have just one downtown, right? Like the New York, like downtown area is actually the downtown of New York City would in any other city be like 50 downtown. Like we're talking about very different scales here, but ideally you want like you want to build like a 15-minute city. You want like every area to have lots of interesting stuff so that you don't all concentrate in one place. Also, of course, private equity treating residential units as speculative investments, so they jack rent up through the roof. There should be, and this is, again, this would fix so much housing policy, just like that. Charge an exorbitant tax on any residence owned which is not occupied, at least some arbitrary number of months a year. Oh, you're keeping all these units empty because rent's $4,200 a month? Well, sorry, motherfucker. You're forking over a huge amount of money to the state. Might want to bring those rents down. Might want to incentivize people to move in. That would, like that on its own, that would fix like that. It's one of the rare times where you have an extremely complicated multi-variable problem in society that actually you really could like silver bullet that shit. Not perfectly, but it works.
We did it at HUD 25 years ago. Cities across the country have done it. And we can too. It's long overdue. We must do more to advance social justice. And a top priority must be investing in training and jobs rather than jails. Many have said it. Now it's time to do it. We must provide economic alternatives for young minority men now turning to crime.
Wow. What do you gain politically by just saying minority there? Like, I know, like, you know, it's polite to dog whistle. I think he means hood shit. I think this motherfucker's talking about audacious acts of criminality up in here. This motherfucker. Oh, God. So I guess white people engaging in acts of audacious criminality are fine. Washington State already has an empty residence tax. Lamau does it. They got to double that shit. Though, in fairness, Seattle actually has been building up quite a few new developments. We're one of the few cities in America, especially on the West Coast, that has actually been, like, you know, pumping it up a bit.
Private employment partnerships, vocational training, apprentice programs, positive opportunities. We can do it, and we will do it. The tragic situation in the Middle East generates strong...
Wait, do we? Let me see. What's the Washington State empty residential property tax? I see an article saying that it should happen. What's the... Can you link that? I thought we didn't have that. Yeah, I don't see that. Who was the person who said that? Who was the person who said that? I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find you. I don't think I can find you. There's too much chat to look at. Oh, Celestial Collective, yeah. Can you find that?
Opinions, understandably. It is a terrible story of human loss and suffering. But nothing justifies racism and anti-Semitism. We have the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. They are our neighbors and friends. They are our family, literally. They helped build this city. It is their home, and they must feel safe. Our New York City should not be tolerating any harassment or disparagement of our Jewish brothers and sisters, and certainly not from our elected officials. In fact, they should be condemning it. The law must be aggressively enforced.
Right. No Gaza protests, no protesting Israel, any criticism of Israel anti-Semitic. Yeah, we know this.
And our New York should go even further and be at the forefront, leading the fight against the global rise of anti-Semitism. But to do any of this, We need a government that can actually perform. We need a government with leadership that can take a stand and get things done.
We probably found the same article. Oakland has it, but it says Washington should. Well, saying Washington should have it ain't the same as saying it does have it, huh? Maybe we should be careful in the future.
Intelligently, professionally, efficiently, effectively, and do it now. To me, the founding premise of a progressive Democratic Party is all about serving working men and women.
And non-binary
But the
people.
cruel irony is they are the ones now paying the highest price for New York's failed Democratic leadership. The affordability crisis, the madness of the mass transit system, mainly affects the poor and middle class, and 75% of the victims of crime are black and brown. This is not progressive policy, but in fact, regressive policy. FDR, John Kennedy, LBJ, Mario Cuomo, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama taught us what it meant to have a true progressive government. It wasn't about rhetoric, but results. Look at the word. Progressive government makes progress. They focused on issues that mattered to people in their day-to-day lives, issues that were relevant to them. And then they actually made life better for people. And that is what Democrats must do once again. New York birthed the original progressive movement, and it worked. It lifted this city, this state, this nation to new heights. And it is time for its rebirth. And the place is New York, and the time is now. In the midst of a crisis is not the time or the place for on-the-job training. Did I always do everything right in my years of government service? Of course not. Wants to work for the benefit of New York. But we believe in lawful, intelligent immigration because we are a city of immigrants. We believe we must do it not just for the sake of New York people on 300 square miles. The way is up. I am not saying this is going to be easy. It won't be easy. But I know we can turn the city around. And I believe I can help. And that is why I announced my candidacy today for mayor of New York City. I am a lifelong New Yorker, and I love New York. And I want New York to not only survive, but for New York to thrive, for my children and for yours. So now the only question is, are you ready to fight to save our city? I know that I am. Let's do it. Let's do it together, and let's do it now.
Well, that was wretched. I'm sorry. I know that was more than I expected to watch of it. I thought like the first half would be the video and the second half would be the, you know, people talking about it, I guess. Yeah, that was pretty rough. He's probably going to win. Why is it 17 minutes? That is an insanely long campaign announcement. I don't think he'll win. I'm pretty sure he's polling the highest by far. But yeah, that was insanely Hitlerite. Is this guy still better than Eric Adams? All of the bad stuff he's saying, Eric Adams already represents. I am shocked by how direct he was. We must end the scourge of e-bikes. We need to keep young minorities from doing crime. Like, it's... I don't know. I guess I still prefer him to Eric Adams, but maybe not. I don't know. Zoran Mamdi for New York mayor? Yeah, okay. Look, I know he's preferable, but what is he polling at? Oh, in second. Okay. I thought he was further down. Andrew Cuomo is far and away leading the pack with 38%, even though as of Friday he's not officially entered the race. Right, this is from the other day. This is from yesterday. However, a decision to do so is imminent. Polling in second place with 12%, less than a third of Andrew Cuomo's polling vote share. Zoran Mamdani, who is, I understand, yeah, a Democratic Socialist. What an uphill battle. Yeah. Crazy that, like, the population of New York City is so progressive, but shit like this still happens. New York Democrats, man. As a non-American, I thought that New York City was a fairly woke Dem city. Why is the popular electorate so Hitler? Well, the only thing that matters is the Democratic primary, because Republicans can't win the mayorship here. And it's a separate Democratic primary. And unfortunately, nobody votes. Also, yeah, you've got Wall Street. It's a big population. There's a lot of neoliberals, but the main thing is just people here don't vote, you know? They're too busy explaining to you what a bodega is to vote. Okay, but what's a bodega? It's a small shop, but they don't want you to think of it like that. What are the voting laws in New York City anyway? You need to be a landowning white male. Oh my god, they did it again. FedEx cargo plane makes emergency landing following bird strike, engine fire. God really does not want us flying around. Good luck on your plane ride? Yeah, thank you. Jesus. All right, all right. What if we did actual politics? Hypothetically. Just a moment. Why the fuck can't I find the thing that I was looking at? It's always like that, ain't it? Bosch, when he has to do a segment quickly. I thought I had a link up. Evidently not. Okay, there we go. Jesus Christ, it took me a second to find that. Really confused there for a second. I thought I had it open. Well, either way. Folks, American empire is crumbling, Chinese century, etc., etc. Really, though, the follow-through after the quote-unquote meeting with Zelenskyy, I mean, it has been insane. Absolutely insane. What is this? The summit organized by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and other European leaders. The summit will include leaders from France, Germany, Denmark, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Spain, Turkey, Finland, Sweden, Czechia, and Romania, as well as the NATO Security Council and the presidents of the European Commission and European Council. We're getting locked out, which is good because we're the enemy. The whole point of NATO was obviously, we're fighting against the Soviet Union. Soviet Union collapses. Turns out, Russia's well, for a while they weren't friends with us, but now, I mean, it seems like we're actually very close allies with them. so NATO dumped us? Not really, but like, we might leave NATO. And I know, I'm sure a lot of campuses are like, yay, but keep in mind, we'd be entering something worse. The ramifications of this, you know? The whole Zelenskyy thing is insane. It's fucking insane. Find me anything, anywhere, any records at all of a meeting going like that, of a president acting that way. It really is our Brexit. Yeah, it really is our Brexit. Norwegian fuel supplier refuses U.S. warships over Ukraine. Fuel company Haltbach Bunkers has announced it'll cease supplying fuel to U.S. military forces in Norway and American ships docking in Norwegian ports, citing dissatisfaction with recent U.S. policy towards Ukraine. It's much worse than Brexit, to be clear, but, you know, in terms of, like, the direction things are going, except, of course, that even the people who did Brexit aren't on our side. We don't even get to keep the, you know, the sun never setting on the transatlantic partnership between the United States and Britain. We're an active security threat to Europe. We literally are. We no longer even the Hegseth, the Pentagon, no longer considers Russia to be an active security threat, which means, in other words, like, you can expect more and more serious information sharing. Not just, you know, Russian agents coming over to Mar-a-Lago, take a step in the bathroom, peek some private documents Trump brought over, but like just direct information sharing. Germany's Mars has said that he wants an EU nuke cooperation. He wants France and England to share nukes with other EU countries. Macron said he's ready to discuss it. That's crazy.
Thank you very much. Well, let me just say that you're very, very welcome here in Downing Street. As you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom. And we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United
Analysts at the agency were verbally informed they were not to follow or report on Russia threats. Yeah. It's not only are we not considering Russia a state enemy, we're telling like cybercoms to let off them. Like literally, Russia has been or at least one of the main cybersecurity threats to the United States. And we're just like, nah, don't worry, whatever. They run the country now anyway. Who gives a shit?
Coming out to demonstrate how much they support you, how much they support Ukraine, and our absolute determination to stand with you, unwavering determination, and to achieve what we both want to achieve, which is a lasting peace for Ukraine based on sovereignty and security for Ukraine. So important for Ukraine, so important for Europe, and so important for the United Kingdom. So
it's worth noting here again, like, this isn't just a matter of disagreeing with American policy, which is something that's happened many, many times. It's immediately after Zelenskyy and his fight with J.D. Vance and Trump getting invited basically in stark opposition, like, hey, to let you know, we're not with them, you know? It's a paradigm shift in geopolitics. It's a moment that will be recorded and remembered in history. At some point, somebody's going to give a name to it, you know? Like, it's not going to be called the, you know, the March, or the February 28th, 2025 Zelenskyy conference at the White House or whatever. It's going to be given a name. And people will refer to it by that name. Did you cover the interview itself? Yep, the whole thing. Jesus, man. It's a whole new world.
Germany's next leader, Friedrich Merz, is calling for a discussion on nuclear sharing with France and Britain, the only nuclear powers in Western Europe. Merz has argued that the US strategy is shifting under Donald Trump, and therefore Europe needs greater defense independence. France, however, has rejected the idea. France's defense minister, Sébastien Lecornu,
I thought Macron said he was considering it. Is this more recent information or is this outdated information?
Says that France's nuclear deterrence is French and will remain French. The president alone decides when to use it, and there will be no formal guarantees for European partners. Talking about Britain now, Britain's nuclear weapons fall under NATO's umbrella, providing some protection to Europe. However, experts say the UK's arsenal relies heavily on US missiles and warheads, raising questions.
Not for long, man. Not for long.
Well, first of all, Canada has been there for Ukraine from day one, indeed from before day one, as in 2015 we started training Ukrainian military forces on the ground in Ukraine, which was a significant part. Western training to the Ukrainian armed forces is one of the reasons why Ukraine has been able to stand up to the Russian invaders so effectively over the past years. It's not just Canada, a number of countries have been involved, but for historical reasons, Canada having the second largest diaspora of Ukrainians in the world.
The entire supply chain for the UK's nukes are from US suppliers and sources. Yeah, but keep in mind that a lot of the stuff the United States produces also has supply lines that run to other countries too, right? Like Canada and Mexico are European partners, but that's all over now. Like all of these ties are being severed. Right now, every single European government, every ally, not even just in Europe, are making plans to break away from the United States. And to think, like, literally all of this just to, I don't know. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's just about, like, Elon Musk wanting everyone to think he's cool. Like, that's kind of the whole reason all this is happening. Sort of like how you hear about, like, big historical wars, or like the Chinese Three Kingdoms period, and if you, like, trace it back to its root, it's like, well, one guy really, really thought that his dad should respect him more, and that's kind of why this all happened, you know? And Obama's tight five. The F-35 is built with parts and components from like every U.S. ally and NATO country. Don't worry, American military supremacy is going to start falling apart pretty soon as well. Our military supremacy has basically been unquestioned up until this point, but as of a few weeks ago, we're doing the Russia bit, which is military leadership is being appointed based on loyalty rather than on competence. That's really all it takes. Everything from that point forward is a downhill roll. It doesn't matter how much money you pump into the system, right? At the end of the day, military competence comes down to, you know, discipline, consistency, independent decision-making. Once you erode at that, you know, once you make it about loyalty, you kind of, it all falls apart.
Means that we felt deeply connected to Ukraine, but we also believe deeply that it's not just about Ukraine. It's about the rules and the values and the principles of sovereignty, of independence, of territorial integrity that protects every country in the world.
The American military is already kind of competent. If you want a perfect example of what I'm talking about, how discipline and competence being prioritized over loyalty, the biggest example of this, I think, is the difference between how we behaved during the Gulf War versus the Iraq/Vietnam War. I think you see a perfect, like, it's very, very obvious which of these wars was conducted with, like, military competence first, and which of them were conducted as political exercises first, with, you know, the generals essentially being told, like, catch up, motherfucker. Like, this is what we're doing. Get in line, you know? Like, this is, yeah, we're president's commander-in-chief. This is what we're going for. It's pretty obvious, you can tell. Gulf War was so perfect, it's kind of beautiful in a way. It was like a fucking synchronized dance, the Gulf War. You know? Insane.
All of us rely on those rules to be able to build peace and security. And we know that with the world changing, we're all going to have to do more. around peace and security. One of the key themes that we heard today, as we've heard from many, many partners around the world in NATO and elsewhere over the past number of years, is people are going to be doing more on defense. 9.5 years ago, when I took office in Canada, the previous government had us down below 1% of defense spending, even though the NATO 2% pledge had been made a year or two before. In the subsequent time, we have more than tripled defense spending on the path to 2030, and we're on our way to 2%. And we know
it is genuinely really sad that, like, this is the direction the world is heading in. But much in the same, like, I have to be consistent here, right? Like, I would have militantly supported U.S. armament against the Nazis in World War II. I'm like, it's not a principled pacifism. Or I suppose it is very principled in the sense that that's the world you're fighting for, but, like, clearly the work's not done. At the end of the day, all of this comes down to capital. There's no way around that. Everything we're experiencing right now in the United States is a consequence of a slower version of what happened in Russia after the fall of the Soviet Union, which is, you know, you consolidate power in the hands of too small a group of people, blah, 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 blah. You know the deal. You know my spiel. Would you support a war against Russia? No, because I'm not, like, insanely stupid. However, you know, the possibility of proxy wars cropping up or whatever. Can't rely on America. We know where America stands now. It's a good spiel. It is a good spiel, and it's true. It's just true.
We're going to have to continue to do more and more in an uncertain world, and Canada will be there. As to how we will be there, we will work with our neighbors on it, but everything is on the table because we need to make sure that might no longer makes right.
Europe could beat Russia in a conventional war if they had the will. Well, sure, but it wouldn't be a conventional war. It'd be nuclear apocalypse. Yes, in a conventional war, Russia would get stomped by plenty of countries. Certainly a united European front, like, it wouldn't even be... The Russian doctrine is landmines, you know, tank traps, artillery, and infantry, you know? They would be deleted from space. They would lasers, you know, it wouldn't even be a thing. But nukes are nukes. That's how it is.
In this world. That's what has led to 80 years of incredible stability and prosperity, not just in Europe, but around the world, because of the institutions we built out of the ashes of World War II. And standing up for those institutions is in the best interest of every single one of us. Now, as a collection of different nations, we will have different perspectives from time to time on the best way forward, and those will be worked out.
I just don't see Russian oligarchs being behind living in a cold bunker eating canned food for the rest of their lives. Didn't you hear? Donald Trump is selling American pathways to citizenship for only $5 million each. A Russian oligarch can easily afford that.
In forums like this, or at the G7 forum or elsewhere. But we are united in our values. We are united in wanting to see peace and fairness and prosperity for all our citizens, and that's what continues to drive us forward. Le Canada va toujours être là pour l'Ukraine.
Will Europe remove American bases from their countries? Actually, yeah, I think that shift is coming. That was something Donald Trump was even talking about before in his talks with Russia down in Saudi Arabia. Russia wants that, certainly. Yeah, that might actually happen, though we would need to move a little, the needle would need to move a little further in that direction for that to be, like, really on the table. But yeah. Where are the new bases going to be? I don't think there would be new bases. I just think we would, like, lose our allies. My battalion commander literally said that needs to happen this morning. Yeah, I mean, at this point, they're a security threat. Would you want Russian bases in Germany and France? Probably not. I've started to miss Vosh's patriotism speeches. Sorry, you guys. You got, like, you got, like, jingoist pro-American speeches under Biden when it was appropriate. They're not appropriate right now. I'm sorry. We're the bad guys. We're unambiguously the bad guys in this dynamic. We've always been bad, mind you, but there are usually tiers above or below, good things you could or couldn't do. This is an unmistakable shift downwards on the rung. It's not good. It's crazy how aligned the U.S. is with Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and being evil. Well, hold on, okay? There are major differences here. North Korea, for one, is a meme. Russia is a raped, pillaged shithole run by a few hundred ultra-wealthy men who want to do the same to America. That is the goal of the ultra-wealthy here. Iran benefits from their relationship with Russia, but they're doing their own thing. And their own thing is holding an incredibly narrow margin of control over a population that does not like their government. And China, I actually think that which direction China goes in is going to be one of the big, that's going to be one of the big, like, kingmaker moments, I guess. Because China has incentives to run in both directions, you know? It could be a Chinese century, but if they wanted it to be, the best thing they could do, in my opinion, would be to align with the EU. The gulf between China and America is arbitrary and politically constructed. For one, America has good relationships with plenty of dictatorships. For two, keep in mind, we didn't consider China an enemy until recently. It was only after their dengest economic miracle that we even, like, that was a consideration. Nixon opened talks with China back in the what, 70s? Yeah, it was 70s. The idea that China is like this great threat from overseas, a lot of you probably don't remember, that narrative is only about 20 years old. I know it sounds crazy, but like back during the early Bush term, it wasn't like this. Trump is the first president to really lean in on it. Obama and Bush more talked about China like foreign competitors, which is fair. That's, you know, that's fair. Economic competitors, sure. But to treat them like an enemy, that's a Trump thing. It's relatively new. China could deepen ties with the European Union. It would make sense for them to, in my opinion, if it was possible to. The EU does not hate China as much as America hates China. What about BRICS? BRICS is still a meme. Still a meme, still a meme. The EU does not want to ally with China? Well, depends on what you mean by ally. There's a trade relationship. To what extent? You know, like how much will that develop? Yeah, we'll see. I really do hope our European allies are able to pick themselves up.
How do you see the best way for the EU to deal with the one issue that is perhaps the last remaining issue of integration, and that is defense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is a very good question. I think I've always been of the opinion that Europe should not create any alternative to NATO, because I mean, NATO is a military structure, and every NATO member, I mean, we have 31 members now, 32 members? 32.
Finnish Prime Minister? No, she's Estonian, is she not? Am I wrong in this? Am I wrong in my memory? Kaja Kallas? Estonian, yeah. The Baltic states are NATO's greatest soldiers, by the way. These are the, like, we sit pretty with our budget over in America, but these are the, like, suicide vest wearing front line against Russian aggression. You know, they're right up there.
32 members now, so you have 32 different armies.
Former Estonian PM, now holding public office.
32 defense planners, and 32 defense budgets. So that means you need those armies to work together. And what now comes to the European side is that we need to have the interoperability of all the capabilities and stuff. I mean, I'll bring you one example.
I'm just trying to get a feeling, I guess, moving out from here. I took a look at various European nations' media. I wanted to take a look, try to get like a vibe, I guess, and it's all like very pro-Zelensky, even if they're not being super open in their antagonism against
President
Trump.
Zelensky is preparing to travel to London for a summit of European leaders on Sunday.
What's our preferred source of media from France, the English-speaking channel? Can you remind me?
After he clashed with President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance in an extraordinary shouting match on a visit to the Oval Office. President Trump accused the Ukrainian leader of gambling with World War III and of not being...
Even Mélenchon is praising Zelensky? Huh. In any case, Zelensky was courageous. Without his aplomb, our continent would display the status of a simple colony of the USA, whose leaders will pat themselves in the back with their buddy Trump. Hey, at least we're making being pro-Ukrainian the anti-American position. Sorry, Mélenchon. Mélenchon.
Being grateful for the support of the US. President Zelensky made it clear there should be no compromises with President Putin. Following all that drama, the president of Ukraine was ordered to leave the White House and a much-anticipated minerals deal was not signed. The US president later said President Zelensky could return when he was ready for peace. Our North America editor Sarah Smith has this report.
Donald Trump began the day confident he was about to sign a very advantageous deal.
We know what happened. Can you all forgive me, perhaps, for being a little bit, like, weirded out by all of this? I understand that we like, sort of intellectually grapple with what's happening here, but on a personal level, the idea that over the course of a few months, the entire global order, centering on my country, by the way, the entire global order has been upended, and we're in like a completely unknown. I don't know, man. So something's happening? Yeah, nothing ever happens, folks, are definitely not eating well. Global leaders react to verbal brawl in Oval Office. It's difficult to get a feel for what the attention levels are in, say, for example, in Germany, you know, based off their English-speaking channel, right? They would be going to, like, German news sources, but it's pretty obvious how people feel. British media is straight up having people say J.D. Vance is a piece of shit on air. It is insane that all of this is being done but because a few hundred ultra-wealthy people want to treat America like a no-rules playground for the wealthy. They want to turn America into Dubai. That's literally it. That's what it all boils down to. Is it because Trump's an egotist? Sure, but that's not the cause. Is it because Elon Musk wants you to believe he's good at playing Path of Exile 2? Sure, but that's not the cause. Is it because J.D. Vance fucks couches? Sure, but that's not the cause. The cause is because that's what Russia is to them. To the oligarchs in Russia. That is, it is. That's all it is to them. They're untouchable. They're legally untouchable to anyone other than Vladimir Putin, you know? Like, as long as you don't get on his bad side, they can just basically do whatever they want. And Russia is a shithole to Russians, but to those few hundred or so people, oh, they have the time. They have such a good time. It's like that in Dubai. Yeah, most of the people living on the outskirts are slaves. Foreign workers with their visas taken away. Yeah, it's a shit city to live in. But if you can treat it like a permanent tourist, then fine, it's perfect for you. If you're wealthy enough to enjoy the many sights and sounds, then it's actually one of the most interesting cities to live in, I'm told, for a certain type of person. And it's not even a 1% thing. What is the 1% in America? $400,000 a year or something like that? $400,000 a year? That's not Dubai levels. 700K? That's not Dubai levels. $1 million, $2 million a year? No. We're talking about literally like the smallest, yeah, like the top 1% of the 1%. Maybe that. And everything is being done for their benefit. Everything else is just propaganda. Canada's foreign minister says new economic and security partners needed amid shift in USA. Jesus Christ, our closest allies, closest both politically and geographically. They're right there, man. They're right there. And they're looking for a way out. Listen, okay, you can be an accelerationist or not, but the acceleration is coming. You can listen. Everyone's an accelerationist when the person driving the car hits the accelerator. All right, you can believe in it or not. I'm from Eastern Europe. Do you guys in the US see a shift in how people think about Trump after yesterday? That's the fucked up thing. No. There will never in America be a big paradigm shift like what you see abroad, because half of this country is so hopelessly propagandized to that they could watch Trump rape their child and they would still come up with an excuse. It is insane how polarized this country is. The problem, it's not just how far right America is, because we're not the most far right country in the world, politically speaking. Not even close. It's that the American right has been taught to not believe in anything. No principles. Absolutely none. Everything is to trigger the libs. That's the unique American phenomena. There are other countries out there that are very far right who will nonetheless adhere to those far right principles. You know? There are countries out there that think gay people should be stoned or whatever, but if they found out their political leaders were gay, they would want those political leaders stoned. But here in America, they want pedophiles stoned. Sure, fine, I prefer, I don't know, the justice system or whatever, but go ahead, I guess. Then they find out Trump is literally Epstein's closest friend. No one cares. That's the difference. It's not that America is super far right. It's that the American right does not believe in anything. And their constituents have been taught to not believe in anything. So nothing moves the needle. You know? Trump might crash the economy. Trump might do this. Trump might do that. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Because it's fake, or it's not fake, or it was to trigger the libs, or he didn't actually mean that, or whatever. That's the cancer here. I would rather argue with a 1,000 reactionary Islamists who come over here from Iran or something, you know? I would rather have a conversation with all of them in a row about the right for women to show their hair or whatever the fuck. If they actually believe it, I would rather talk about it with them than a single Trump supporter who will walk back every single thing they pretend they believe in the nanosecond it's politically expedient. People with no principles, jello spines. Real talk, what's the solution to that? I don't want to talk about it. Overwhelming media capture, exercised with a level of ferocity that is flashing a lot of whatever you want, you know? Trudeau's going to Europe? Really? Oh my god. Then they are going to join the EU. Holy shit. I don't know. I don't know. Deleted post, K Comrade Robin Hood. Whatever. You get me. I think the first step is the UK rejoining the EU. I don't know if they will. They have to deal with their own shit. The UK isn't really, like, very European culturally. They need to bring it back. Protesters against JD Vance. That's good. That's good. That's good. They can threaten military invasion. Again, like, we have to know our place, okay? America could be brought to its knees almost instantly with an embargo, okay? If America actually threatened to invade Canada, it would be ruinous for the continent. It would not be good. Like, even a little bit. And the way things are going, having a feeling that European countries, other NATO countries, might start to supply Canada, not us. I don't think it's actually on the table. Is it possible that the USA helps Russia militarily in Ukraine? Yeah, not only is it possible, I'm very confident that it's going to happen. I feel like, did I stretch out the collar on this shirt? I'm getting collar cucked right now. Gotta run this through a warm wash or something. Yeah, Japan's pulling away from us as well. I think the chatter meant in the sense of the US bombing Ukraine. No. The American public would not tolerate direct interference like that. That would be shocking to me. Providing arms to Russia, it'd be crazy, but it could happen. At this, like, the way things are going, that could happen, yeah. Hello, Ruben. Beep, beep, beep. No more Japanese denim for you? Yeah. You think the public opinion still matters? Yes, yes it does. Yes it does. Never forget, no matter how bad things get, every dictatorship in history is built upon, at the very least, the passive acceptance of the majority. Always, no matter what. No one has ever built a power structure that has not been reliant on the majority being at least quiet. It's a necessity. Public opinion still matters a lot. Anyway. But what if half the country is this indoctrinated into a cult? They don't... The Republicans don't want to invade Ukraine on Russia's side. The Republican constituency is not interested in that. There are limits to this thing. We are benefiting to a large extent from the fact that Americans cannot stand hardship. Canada's on track to hit recruiting targets. Holy shit. That's funny. Anyway, we need to get this one off to the presses. Okay, just a second. Sending a block of vid over release. The most recent, Zelenskyy follow-up when it's ready. Maybe just... Well, it's good. The last title was The World Will Never Forgive Us for This, or something like that, right? Maybe like America's allies leave us. America has lost its allies. What's a good follow-up title to that? The world is moving on without us. That's actually not bad. The world is moving on without... I like that. I'll take that. All right, there we go. Why is the collar stretch? Did I just... Maybe I just had it too forward. This shirt is super, super light. It's like incredibly stretchy. So I worry about pulling on it when I wear a jacket over it. There we go. Just need to run it through the wash. Swiss flag shirt. No, it's from Imogene and Willie. A white plus sign is their symbol. Okay. All right. I do not support Switzerland. I do not respect them. Should you wear nice clothes when you're alone at home? I think so, yeah. Not nice in terms of, like, respectability or in terms of, like, price or anything. But I think that if you're lounging at home, you know, it does feel nice to, like, I don't know, wear a soft cardigan and drink some tea. Oh, hold on one second. I completely forgot I was going to get... Echo? You okay with the... We need to get this through because we're like...
Okay. Are you still streaming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. This is just pet checkup season.
No, I get you. There's always a bunch of vet appointments. It's okay, so I forgive you. Huh?
You might have allergies. It happened at the same time.
I have allergies. Should I get a air filter? What is it called? Like an air purifier? Like a nice one?
Would we need like one per room?
I think just having like a one decently sized one on this floor would...
If it continues, but yeah, we'll see.
Because I never used one. I don't know how effective they are. The HEPA filter? Yeah, that's what I've heard. You know? Are you allergic to cats? I mean, dust, dandruff, whatever. You know? Like a little bit. Do you need one per room? Because my house has a decent number of rooms. Could I not, like... Ideally, yeah. Bleh. One per room would be optimal. Yeah, but that's a lot of them. Maybe I'll just get it for me because I'm the one who buys them. Do you use one of these? You're linking an air filter. I don't have an air filter. Do you have a carpet covering every room? I mean, in this one, yeah. In a decent number of them, yeah. In whatever the right number of them is, yeah. Beloved partner just linked me a goddamn air filter. Because I got the idea while I was over at their place. Changing your furnace air filter might be... What do you mean, furnace air filter? What the fuck are you talking about? Furnace air filter? I don't even know what stereotypes to throw your way. I don't even know what that's from. What is that from? Do you have dry air heating in your house? I don't have... I just have a place that I rent. It's the temperature that it's at. If I want a room warmer, I turn a heater on. If I want a room colder, I turn a air conditioner on. Do you not have central heating? No? What am I, a pussy? Not Midwestern sentence. I live in Seattle, yeah. Right, I forgot where you live. Yeah, no, it doesn't get that cold over here. All right, moving on. Distracted me long enough. Do you have a vent cover on a wall somewhere in your home? It looks like a grate. I know, if there was central heating, I would know about it. If your heater functions by blowing hot air in, there's an air filter in there somewhere. I mean, it's like a $25 heater. I'm not using a heater right now. The only thing heating my room is my computer. Now, Vosh couldn't handle the Michigan cold for a second. Handling cold's all about layering, motherfucker. I've been training. Wait, does your home not have something that circulates air throughout the house, or do you just open you just open a window? What about in winter? What about in winter? You open the window. It's Seattle. I know, Masago, you've already linked that 3 times, and I acknowledged it. I opened it. Maybe it wasn't you who linked it. All right. How warm is Seattle in the winter? I thought it freezes there. Yeah, but it gets to like 28, maybe 26 at the coldest during night. Not that cold, you know? So does every room just have its own heater? I mean, if you want, the house just isn't that cold. It's insulated. I don't know what the hell's going on in chat right now. It's a very particular kind of way people act with weather. Very, very particular. You're fast at reading? Well, I'm trying to find this one specific thing. Oh yeah, this is it. I feel like we're kind of entering our Mad King era a little bit. Can somebody maybe give me a little bit of context? Because I saw this and it was a bit of a head scratcher when I saw it in the shower. You know? So Donald Trump pardoned a dead guy. Major League Baseball didn't have the courage or decency to put the late, great Pete Rose, also known as Charlie Hustle, into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now he is dead and will never experience the thrill of being selected, even though he was a far better player than most of those who made it and can only be named posthumously. What a shame. Anyway, over the next few weeks, I'll be signing a complete pardon of Pete Rose, who shouldn't have been gambling on baseball, but only bet on his team winning. He never betted against himself or any other team. He had the most hits by far in baseball history and won more games than anyone in sports history. Baseball, which is dying all over the place, should get off its fat, lazy ass and elect Pete Rose, even though far too late, into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Is this being done for anyone? Or is this like he had an opinion 40 years ago and he's like bringing it back? I think this is 100% true. Like him being a fanboy. Trump just like pedo. Is he a pedo? I don't know anything about this guy. He was a pedophile, so that's why he's doing it the same week as Andrew Tate. Was that mentioned in the AP News post? Trump did not specifically mention Rose's tax case, in which he pled guilty for 2 counts of filing false tax returns and serving a 5-month prison sentence. Oh, they don't mention it here. But I'll believe you. I'll believe that. This one? I mean, Trump could conceivably be defending him both on the grounds of him being a pedophile and of him being a tax cheat. Like defending a mirror. It literally doesn't matter. I was just curious if there was like a reason or if it's just Trump being a mad king, you know? That's all. I was just curious if there was some broader, I mean, I don't know. Just something he wanted to do. That's a little respectable. I mean, not like what he's doing, but in concept. He was a sports bettor. He'd bet against himself while he was playing and make money off throwing games. Well, Donald Trump just said he didn't do that, though. Is this good or bad? Freddie Mac housing delinquencies are now higher than peak levels seen during the 2008 financial crisis. Chat, let me know if this is good or bad. That's bad? Well, you guys often lie to me, so maybe it's good. Is it good if you're an accelerationist? This is meaning missed payments? Yeah. Which is a little surprising because, well, when do these delinquencies start to tick up? I mean, these are obviously like COVID-influenced delinquencies, right? So would this have been from people getting mortgages during that period of time where the interest rates were really low before Bidenflation kicked in and the Fed had to raise interest rates? It's bad, but it's not the same kind of bad as last time. Yeah, the reason they were so high this time, right around here, was because they were throwing a mortgage to fucking anyone. You could go to a bank with a dog and say, my dog would like a mortgage, and the bank would be like, okay, yeah, that'll probably work. Whatever. You know. Okay, we trust you. Here's like $1 million. But that's not what's happening this time, at least not to my knowledge. Unlearning Economics had a stream where a professor said a number of regional banks went under around the country and they were giving dodgy mortgages again. Really? Interesting. U.S. banks are closing local branches at a rapid pace. Well, these are local branches, not local banks. There were 5 bank failures in 2023 worth $500 billion. Well, that includes the Silicon Valley Bank, right? I don't know. Is this above my pay grade? Probably. Wall Street Journal just released today banks are releasing mortgage-backed securities again. They already were? Maybe they're doing it more? One more time, just one more time. FDIC ends disclosing total assets of banks on problem bank list as disclosure might trigger a disorderly run. Wait. FDIC ends disclosing total assets of banks on problem bank list as disclosure might suddenly trigger... Who's on the problem bank list? Who's on the problem bank list? The list had previously shown total assets and total number of banks in the problem bank list. As of today, it only shows the total number. Forget the assets. Is this not actually really big news? I didn't hear about this. Admittedly, I don't kick in on the financial news as much as I do like the broader social and political stuff. But that's not good. I wonder why they'd want to hide those combined assets. Don't forget credit card delinquencies are at their 13-year highest. They're probably going to go quite a bit up from here too, right? Like there's no fucking way. There's no way that by like Q1 2025 we don't see another like big tick up, right? That's going to jump. They've been talking about, but it's hit it. PIMCO warns of more regional bank failures on property pain. Banks selling quality assets first to avoid big losses. Does anyone have an article talking about? Okay, if you could please, because I'm not in my wheelhouse here. If I could get an article on the mortgage-backed securities, and if I could get an article on the banks offering dodgy mortgages. If there's any information you have on that, I would appreciate it very much. 15 most recent bank failures. I mean, I wouldn't know these banks, I suppose. Well, I know at least a few of these, actually. Not that many, only one so far of this year, but... There was a big event in banking recently causing some kind of collapse. Yeah, the Silicon Valley Bank. We covered that. That I'm familiar with. FDIC problem bank list grows as industry profits dip. Okay, guys, if you're providing the link, you have to say what the link is. Otherwise, I just see a person providing a link. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Government National Mortgage Association. I can't parse this information, sorry. The further we move from sociology, the less capable I am of recognizing the important information at a glance, you know? Ah, thank you. Oh, is there a spill? There's been lots. All right, well, let me drink it quickly then so the coffee can't spill anymore. Thank you for your suffering.
I didn't realize this cup was that small.
That's okay.
Man.
Financial Times video on this from last year. Okay, yeah, I guess we have a few things to look at here. Overall industry profits dipped 8.6%. That's actually a pretty big dip. Premiums per policy increased 8.7% faster than the rate of inflation. Okay. Crisis or not. The worst year for banks since 2008. Back in 2023. Huh. It's pretty not good. My dad works in banking currently. He's crashing out, Lamau. Why are your roommates so audible today? Oh, I'm sorry. I have like a robust life that exists outside of stream. I'll be sure to like calm more of it down so the ambient noise doesn't get to you. My beloved friend Vermin brought me coffee. Mortgage interest rate has fallen for the 6th week in a row to its lowest since the election-ish. Okay. Well, that's still within like a relatively close variance. The context for this is that big banks primarily make loans by lending in bigger chunks to regional banks who divvy it out in individual lenders. Regional banks going under is the canary in the coal mine. I'm familiar with that article, Craft Punk. People in chat were getting mad at it. I can't really speak to the details. I'm sorry. I want to be more educated on econ stuff, especially when it comes to like diagnosing the exact symptoms of the crash that's coming. By the way, I hope you all know, and maybe the people who are watching, you know, you can have whatever opinion you want of my credibility. That's fine. I am one of those like the collapse is coming types. I always have been. Well, not always, I guess. I have been for a while. But I am very much one of those types, you know? So whatever you think of me, just like keep that in mind because it informs a lot of the stuff that I say. The contradictions do be mounting. Mortgage-backed securities. No VOD? Oh, motherfucker. I tried to give the VOD to my editors a while ago, but I forgot to actually give the VOD. Okay. Okay, there we go. To be fair, people have been saying for 8 years the collapse is coming, but it hasn't. Well, the last one was in 2008, to be fair. 8 years ago was less than a decade after the last collapse. Like, it's not, you know, it's not like we haven't seen... And 2020? Well, I won't count 2020 because 2020 wasn't really a financial collapse. That was just, that was a consequence of, you know, a once in a century at that time pandemic. Wasn't 2015 a collapse as well? Well, not on the scale of like 2008. That was a, you know, we're talking about a crash. Whatever. I'll do some reading off stream. Doing the reading on stream is less interesting. It's not full research stream territory, at least not right now. Close this, close that, get my head back in the game. You know, it's been pissing me off. Beard havers will understand when you trim your beard and then later your chest hair fucking itches because there's one like microscopic shard of beard hair that's nestled itself on your chest against your shirt. So when you move around, it's like scratching you. Pisses me off. You trim it yourself? Your beard? Yeah, you have to. You can't go to a barber every day. Shave with a shirt off then? It still gets under because you shave your neck. My beard hair, look, I shaved down to here. Got a lot of facial hair. Try mewing, it might go away. Elon Musk tells Joe Rogan he's not a Nazi. I believe you. And the online hates he gets is pretty stressful. What is this? What's the gold hat? That's not dark gothic MAGA. What is this? Looks like shit. How is he fucking up wearing a hat? Whatever. Musk said to Joe Rogan, you can't be a Nazi if you're not actively committing genocide. What is actually bad about Nazis, it wasn't their fashion or their mannerisms, it was the war and genocide. He really is, like, shockingly stupid. Isn't he? Like, I don't even think he's a Nazi in his head. I think that he's a fascist in practice who agrees with fascists and Nazis all the time because those are the people who give him the loudest accolades. I don't think I think it's like another Sargon of Akkad situation where you can't actually tell what he knows. He is ideologically white supremacist, but like ideologically Nazi. I'm telling you, man, when he Sieg Heiled at the inauguration, I swear to God, I bet you it was either him trying to pull it off and make it a little bit more ambiguous, or he was trying to do like an epic meme that he promised some people in a group chat he would do. You know? Like, hey, wouldn't it be epic and keck and funny? Wouldn't it be Keckius Maximus? If you did a gesture that kind of looked like a Sieg Heil but wasn't, because you were just like, you know, wishing your heart out or whatever. I bet you it was that, but he was too stupid, so he just did the Sieg Heil, you know? Like he didn't do it. he put too much oomph into it. Anyway, as long as we're talking about Elon Musk's appearance on Joe Rogan, which I can't cover, A, because of copyright, because he's a cuck now, and B, I don't fucking want to, okay? I did, however, see this.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so...
Speak on that thing.
Well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying...
retirement career? Huh?
With you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations.
It is the easiest point in the world to make, and he is so anti-charismatic that he can't make it. Like, literally, just Social Security will go bankrupt after a given length of time. Now, there are problems with the argument he's making, obviously, but even, like, in making the bad argument that he's trying to make, he can't make it, because he's that bad. It just astonishes me every time, you know? I feel like we're in like a different timeline where they brought back Adolf Hitler, but they gave him giant cartoonish buck teeth. So every time you see him do you're like, wow, they're really letting the buck teeth guy do the Holocaust. Man, the Holocaust is really bad, but I'm honestly distracted by the buck teeth right now in this speech that he's doing about the Holocaust or whatever. It's like it's so fucking distracting how autistic this guy is.
So basically, people are living way longer than expected. And there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and get...
You know, you could fix this by taxing wealthy people, but...
That live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligations... So however bad the financial situation is right now for the federal government, it will be much worse in the future.
They're absolutely going to get rid of Social Security. Or they're going to just let it become insolvent. I think we have until 2035. I think 2035 is when it's supposed to become insolvent. And after that point, only 80... Okay, I'm looking at it now. Okay, yeah, 2035. At that time, 83% of benefits will be payable unless Congress takes action before that date to prevent a cross-border benefit cut. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Listen, to be clear, I've always thought Social Security is a stupid fucking program. If you want to allow people to afford retirement, I think there are better ways of doing it than just, like, pay into it your whole working life, and then past a certain point, the government kicks in the dime. Like, there are just smarter ways of doing this. Like, just flat out tax people and then guarantee income past a point. Or what about, I don't know, subsidies? Or it's like a half solution. It's very much like a, you know, American Protestant work ethic kind of solution, where it's like, I have a good idea to prevent elderly poverty. You know, what if you work your entire life, you pay money into it, and then you get the money back? Okay, I mean, I guess. I feel like we could do this in a more socialist way, but whatever. They're going to gut it and take the money? Yep. You used autism as a derogatory term? Yep. Well, the national debt's 34 trillion. Social Security's unfunded liability is around 22 trillion, Fichtner said. To make the program solvent for 75 years, an upfront sum of 22 trillion would be necessary today. And that is a lot of money. I feel like it also doesn't account for more people living longer. Well, it's just like fundamentally, I just think it's a bad way of doing this. Like I applaud the principle, but the way in which it's being done, not so much. That's what RFK is going to do. He's going to make people live less long. True. So the execution is lacking. I mean, we can come up with better ways of providing for our elderly people than this, I think. To make it solvent for 75 years means doing the same dumb shit that SS was doing, the USPS forced to do with their pensions. Well, it is an issue that we're not raising enough money to pay for people's Social Security programs. So we either raise Social Security tax, we provide the money from elsewhere, we provide people less money once they get Social Security, we provide it over a longer length of time, or whatever. If I recall correctly, the only reason it doesn't have more money is because of the tax cap for Social Security tax. Yeah, because past that point, you would definitely be paying for other people's Social Security programs. And I do think we should tax wealthy people more, in my humble opinion. You know? Maybe not me personally, but... They are going to cut this shit, though, for sure. Fuck the elderly. They voted for this. Let them suffer. You're going to be elderly one day, dude. Also, trust me, like, no elderly person wants cuts to Social Security. They're very stupid. I wonder if they're ever going to directly cut these payments. That'd be pretty PogChamp. Curious to see the elderly vote after Social Security assistance is cut or goes away. I think they'd make the Midwestern Democrats look like revisionists a little bit. It would be, you would see the greatest elderly swing towards, a lot of them would be dead, but you would see the greatest elderly swing towards Democrats in history, essentially. God willing. Doesn't destroying the elderly kill the GOP support base? I think the GOP has been hoping for a while now to move into a younger... Like, the GOP has spent less time appealing to the interests of old people and more into the interests of young men, right? Less cozy, old town, home, family value, white picket fence. Wouldn't you like your grandchildren to call one day or something like that? And more towards, like, aggressively misogynistic, incel, hyper-cruel, like, alt-right, you know, young people messaging. Yeah, hence why they brought the Tate brothers back home. This shit is not going away. Yeah, and while I bet you that 99% of Trump voting old people would be outraged at Social Security being cut, I bet you could get 80% of Trump voting young people to say, whatever, that shit's for pussies anyway. Because young people are like that, you know? Doesn't mean it's going to work, of course. Senator Marshall flees his own town hall after being asked about Doge firing veterans.
Is doing right now as far as cutting out those jobs, a huge.
Guys, this is a paid Democratic operative. Ignore his physiognomy. Ignore everyone here's physiognomy, actually.
Percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans.
Yes.
And that is a damn shame.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a damn shame.
I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans, man.
Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great...
What?
I'm not going to... We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
This ending on that?
We're going to take pictures with you, buddy, right?
Dude. I mean, what do you say to your constituents when right now the only priority of your administration is let like 500 billionaires rape the country to death, right? Like literally, like that's it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not even like well, it's not about you paused in the best part. Okay, pre-watcher. Okay.
We're going to take pictures with you, buddy, right? Put you out.
That was great. Thank you. I am glad that I heard that. I wasn't being sarcastic. It's like there's not even any other, you know, the economically conservative position has always been like more wealthy for the wealthy, and the socially conservative position has always been about like the brutalizing of minority groups in favor of the majority groups, and it's always been that way, right? But the way this administration has gone about fulfilling these principles is so internally contradictory that it's not even possible for them to like defend their behavior to their constituents, right? Everything is out the door. Patriotism, for one. You're literally letting like a South African immigrant with a bunch of 19-year-old neo-Nazi Discord kittens run around and fuck the government however they want. Like there's no, it's the whole thing is just a project to let the whole country be turned into a stomping ground for the ultra wealthy. Was this happening during the first Trump administration? No. This kind of like on the ground backlash, like people at the town halls lashing out against their constituents or against their representatives. No, this is new. This is fully new. Yeah. I have to say it's pretty disappointing that some of the most like aggressive protesting that I've seen against Republicans has been from their own voters at these town halls. Like I've been seeing more of that than I have of, you know, oh, there's more? Okay, now that r/public freakout is apparently just like the fucking vanguard party of the coming revolution.
This is very closely akin to what Bill Clinton did between 94 Bill Clinton only plans to cut 400,000 jobs. The
People were telling AOC on Blue Sky that Dems should not show up to the State of the Union and instead hold a bunch of town halls. I actually agree with that. Yeah, I don't see any reason why any Democrat should be present at the State of the Union address. Of course, they will be, but you know, that's crazy. But the Dems are so weak right now. Well, at the very least, AOC shouldn't show up. You know. Okay, I'm sorry. I apparently just the r/public freakout subreddit is just like partisan left. She tried to prove Elon didn't do a Nazi salute.
What were your thoughts on Elon Musk's hand gesture?
Same thing. He is not a Nazi.
That's a gotcha.
It's the.
Would you do that gesture right now?
Hi.
There you go.
But it goes. The hand goes to the chest beforehand.
Oh my God, bro. Oh hell no, man.
I don't need the edits. Thank you. The edits are unnecessary, but I appreciate the. I appreciate the sentiment. Yeah, it's all like anti-Trump stuff, which, you know, hell yeah, man. Reddit's literally the most left-leaning social media now, like by far. It's not even close. Not even close. And that's based? I mean, it's based to be cringe now, right? If you're a Nazi on Twitter, you get like 20K likes and then Elon quote tweets you saying yes. If you're a Nazi on Reddit, someone replies to you and they say, is there some Nazi stuff going on above me? Because we don't tolerate that in our social media. No, they wouldn't say that. We don't tolerate that here on Reddit. What do they say on Reddit? Maybe I'm out of the fascism's right behind me, isn't it? Because Reddit's a pretty intellectual app. You said it, sir. They say KYS on Reddit? Nah, no way. So what insults do Redditors use? I wouldn't let you fuck my wife? I don't know. I don't know what hits with them. r/conservative is literally imploding in on itself and they're purging any dissent. Lol. That subreddit's always been a disaster. It's not representative. I don't know. What do they even have in the subreddit now? Yeah, it's so small. It's just I don't know what it even represents, you know? All right, close this shit. Close this shit. Get me out of here. New email. That's great. Is that the same as the old email? The second email was expected to be delivered in a different way. A version of the email received late Friday by some employees at two separate agencies with the subject line, "What did you do last week, part 2?" They got it from multiple different emails, 5 bulletin points. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. 3,000 more active duty troops down to the U.S.-Mexico border. Man, it doesn't it fucking suck how ugly multicam is? The like I don't know if it's NATO standard, but just the camouflage pattern that's used by us and a bunch of other countries, and it just looks like this, and it's not really for the desert, it's not really for the forest, it's not really, it's just like sauceless. Most other NATO countries use digital camo. Well, it's in the same color, right? Whatever, I don't care. It's better than the previous shit. Is it? It's not sexy, but it's really effective. Is it? I don't know. Whatever. I've heard people say, I don't know. I've heard people say different stuff. I'm purely talking, by the way, from like a fashion perspective. This shit's ugly as fuck. Okay? There are so many good, like Vietnam War. All basically before Reagan decided that polyester was an acceptable material for military clothing. You know, we had some sauce. You know what I'm for? The goddamn Swiss Alpenflagge. That shit looks good. Sorry, but not getting shots better than fashion. Actually, since these are U.S. soldiers, they're both good. Remember, we're the bad guys now. Democrats place Alyssa Slotkin to represent the party respond to Trump's speech. Oh, right. Yeah, no, yeah, no, I'm not. I can't do the rage bait right now. I can't do it. Do you cover this? Yeah, I covered this. Hegseth ordering Cyber Command to stand down on Russia planning. The very obvious implication of this is that cyber attacks on U.S. Digital infrastructure will no longer be necessary because the Russian government has open diplomatic access to it. You know? Like, literally, it's like, what's the point, you know? Why bother with this? And you know the Trump administration is going to brag about fewer cyber attacks from Russia, too. How will this affect Five Eyes? I mean, we threatened to boot Canada out of the Five Eyes. They're going to boot our asses out. Who would share information with us right now? Would you? If you ran Canada, France, whatever, would you want to share military information with us? Exclusive U.S. intel shows Russia and China are attempting to recruit disgruntled federal employees. Based. That's funny. Do you think this is where the, like, 100 queer people who were staffers for the NSA? Remember the gay NSA group chat where they were talking about butthole lasers? That's where they're going to go. Delicious. Shit's making me want to join the Chinese, bruh. They're putting up a compelling argument. I'll say that much. Oh, Christ. Who is keeping up with this, man? Good for you, or I'm sorry to hear that, or whatever. Yo, China or Germany might be better off than the USA right now. You know, I wonder if the AfD are going to suffer in Germany because Germany's identity as an independent nation is going to be reaffirmed by this big divorce America's having with the EU and with its NATO partners. Like, a lot of young people, they want this, like, sense of purpose. They want this sense of identity. They want, like, nationalism, you know, and the AfD is offering the most potent version of that, being Nazis again, right? But maybe you could get a kind of, like, you know, by any means necessary 1960s NATO attitude. You know what I mean? Like, you might be able to reel people in with a different kind of patriotism. Because the AfD is pro-Russia. You know what I mean? That might get less popular over time in an oppositional sense against the United States. It makes me wonder, if the talk with Zelenskyy had happened just 1 week earlier, would it have affected the outcome of the German elections? I bet it would have. Not by a huge amount, maybe a point or two. But I bet it would have pulled voters away from the AfD. Far right isn't cool anymore. Americans ruined it. We have to give J.D. Vance a lot of credit for associating the far right rejection of Ukraine with, have you even said thank you? Because it like it does, you know, aesthetics are a big part of the argument, unfortunately, and there are so many Nazis who treat Russia like it's some kind of glorious vanguard where honorable men go to fight and die against, you know, the Western degeneracy or whatever. So to have, you know, to throw things into this light. You have to say please and thank you, Mr. Zelenskyy. I love this is 500,000 likes. I guess other people like it too. See, I didn't. That's funny. People just want lower energy prices. They're low as shit over here in the States, you know. Oh, yeah, you mean over there in Germany, I assume. His choice of trousers at CPAC only make this better. Folks, if you ever needed a reason to get wider cut trousers, the problem here, by the way, isn't that his trousers are too short. It's that they're too skinny. So when you sit down, they ride up. And he's not wearing over-the-calf dress socks. Knee-high dress socks don't exist anymore. Apparently not. Nobody wears. There are so many times I see like calf and people wearing suits. Just get the fucking sock. The socks are like $25. The suit was much more expensive than that. He looks like a literal child. Yeah. Why are the neckties so long? That's just a style thing. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. I do prefer shorter ties generally, but it's a variety of problems with the fit. Knitted ties? Well, sure, but nobody in Washington wears knitted ties. They're not cool enough. No, it's how skinny they are, Thana. I've been seeing Japanese nationalists and fascists screaming in agony that the American right has no national pride or vision and are worse than communists. It's just that the American right doesn't believe in anything. That's it. Like, I'm not going to give credit to Japanese fascists because, like, they are just as bad as Nazis. But at least they seem to actually believe in it. It is kind of funny how Nazism over time has degraded into like an anti-principled principle where people who venerate the Nazis or associate with them or like their aesthetics or do like crusader posting or whatever the fuck, like these people over time have been training themselves to believe in nothing. Whereas that hasn't really happened with Japanese nationalists. You know what I mean? My understanding is that they're still there, they're still prominent, but for the most part, they basically just believe now what they believed then. If you argued with one of them, they would argue in favor of the things they believe in, which are evil, but they do believe in those things. Talk to your average, like, you know, peepo crusader posting whatever the fuck, and they don't know what the fuck they believe. They just know that they're not getting enough pussy, and they're gonna make it your problem. It's a shit like Imperial Japan. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think the Imperial Japanese were as anti-empiricist as the Nazis, or at least not in the same way. you know? I think that for the Japanese style of fascism was much more around like a militarization of the pre-existing veneration of the Japanese emperor, where you have a pre-existing authoritarian government, like the veneration of the emperor, right, divine right, and then you, through the general cabinet, you militarize it, and then everything after that follows as like a necessity of that power structure, you know? Whereas with the German Nazism, you know, I'm not saying that the Japanese didn't lie to their people, but it was more... Actually, it's a complicated point, I guess. I'd have to think about it. It's more of a military junta than a coherent ideological movement. Yeah, I guess so. There's more... Nazism is more of an like, people don't talk about any Japanese imperial ideology, at least not the same way. Nazism has turned into this, like, global ideological force, whereas, you know... In Japan, there are, like, you know, the pro-imperial types, but you don't really talk about it in the same way, like, oh, the ideology of X or whatever. Does that make sense? They still believe things that were wrong, but it's not even that Nazism is a coherent ideology. I guess it's not as, like, identifiable or recognizable, or I don't know. It's complicated. Imperial Japan was emperor worship. That's a hard thing to export. That's true. That's true. That does kind of like lock your ideology in, you know? If the central basis of your belief system is like the, you know, the divine right of your emperor, it's kind of difficult to export that in the same way as like a smorgasbord of conspiracies. And again, the founding ideological principle of the Nazis was like Aryan supremacy, and that was rooted in a bunch of like very specific conspiracies, but those get lost in a lot of the... Because there are, like, Indian Nazis, a lot of them, and they're not talking about Aryan supremacy. They're talking about everything the Nazis believed in except for the parts specific to white people, which is a lot of it, but they mold it to their... I don't know. Nazism ended up being a lot more ideologically idiosyncratic, whereas Japanese fascism was much more, like, in on its principle, which is... I almost said respectable. It's not respectable, but at the very least, it's a little bit easier to argue against because they actually believe in something. I don't know. No, it's still easy to argue against as fascism. I'm not saying whether or not it's easy to argue against logically. I mean, whether or not you could actually talk to them. You know what I mean? Why are all Nazis dorks? You know what? I think that's you have distilled my rambling into a perfect... You've got it perfectly. Why is it that when I imagine a Nazi, I imagine this, like, disgruntled, disheveled, pedophile, tiny dick, loser, white boy who hates himself, has a poor relationship with his family, and, like, role plays a Pipo, an Apu, on social media to the benefit of other people exactly like him. And when I imagine, like, a Japanese imperial fascist today, I guess I imagine just, like, a regular Japanese guy who's really bad politically. Maybe this is just another example of thing, Japan, where they've won. Maybe if I went over to Japan and I found down a defender of Imperial Japan, it would be some, like, Hikikomori motherfucker, like some, you know, dickless Japanese virgin who's doing exactly the same thing, you know. I don't know. I think lack of pussy is the cause of both these issues. Exactly. State-mandated girlfriends are actually the only way to fix this. That's not true. Don't. Though they would believe that. A Japanese mechanic who wears national dress and does calligraphy. Is it wrong of me to think that it's more honorable, and I'll use that word, to be a racist if you actually care about your ethnic pride and heritage? Because the vast majority don't. The vast majority of Nazis will talk about white people, then jerk at the lolicon made in Japan or whatever the fuck, and they don't know anything about... They're like Americans, and to them America is like hamburger or something. Like, they don't practice or care about any cultural line. I guess at least you're, like, standing on with your feet, like, firmly planted if you have some kind of, like, principled Because there aren't any American supremacists, any Nazi American supremacists out here who are like, you know what I love? I love baseball. I love apple pie cooling on the windowsill. I love Elvis. I love FDR. I love what he did to the Japanese. I love, like, I love Levi's and blue denim. I love white t-shirts with the sleeves cuffed or whatever, apply my knowledge, I guess. They don't do that. They're just all soy posting and consuming anime. They're not like that at all. Yeah, why aren't they Johnny Bravo? Why aren't Nazis like Johnny Bravo? He should be like their prime Aryan specimen, and they're not like him. These fucking American supremacists aren't Americans at all. Get them. All right, sorry. Fucking. Maybe real-life Nazis don't exist today. Well, the crazy thing is that the original Nazis were also like what I'm describing. The losers, I mean. They were also like freakish, insecure, drugged up, like paraphernalia, pedophilia, consuming whatevers. Nazism's always been soy, They didn't even venerate like Germanic culture. You have like some kitsch or whatever, but keep in mind that Germany is a pretty young country. You can go back, Holy Roman Empire, etc., etc. But like the big thing the Nazis were jerking themselves off over was neoclassicism. Neoclassicism was being practiced for hundreds of years in like the entire Western world. Like in America, in Washington, D.C., which is all neoclassicist, and of course you have France, and it's like all over the place. How is that German? Thing Roman, you fucking soy posters. Rome was just Japan to the original Nazis. Now it's the Japanese, then it was the Romans. Hitler actively prevented Himmler from digging up Germanic huts because it embarrassed him in front of Mussolini's Roman ruins. Yes! Literally! They hate their own culture, man! You're German, okay? That means you're a dork-ass fucking Bavarian, lederhosen, giant strap of the short overalls or whatever. You're a dork. Oktoberfest, Wiener Schnitzel, whatever. That's your shit. But no, Hitler's like, oh, what if we made everything look like Rome, but today? Yeah, I love Germanic culture, like big marble columns and stuff. Self-hating losers. I like Americana. That's what I'm talking about. I almost said I like baseball. I don't want to get carried away, but I do like Levi's and blue jeans, okay? I don't actually like apple pie that much. I'm more of a pecan pumpkin pie kind of. I like classic Fords, I admit it. It just reminds me of how all of these America First motherfuckers, when they sell merchandise, it's made in the Philippines. Yeah, or they'll like promote something, like some of the smaller ones that are trying to get their bag. They'll promote something, it's made in China. And it's all shit. Like none of them like America at all because it's just all a fucking grift and no one believes in anything. I feel like that's not the case with Japanese fascists, right? Right? Like if there are to the Japanese in Japan who are still imperial defenders, I feel like they would be more likely to authentically venerate Japanese culture, whatever it means to them. It wouldn't be the same kind of like, complete disregard for any historical through line on their side. Japanese fascists hate the West. At least that's consistent. That's all I'm saying. At least that's consistent. They want like state Shinto and shit. Yeah, okay. At least it's consistent. You know, religion West. Fuck this. I'm a fucking anti-theist. Reddit atheism didn't go far enough. Religion East. State mandated Shintoism. So like every river and tree has like a dragon spirit, and we could pray to little shrines when we walk home from school. You got me. Hey, I've been to Japan, and the Shinto shrines were delightful. Okay. It's not my... I don't think it's thing Japan to point out that American Protestantism is the ugliest fucking religion to have ever seized power over a state in human history. Okay? At least the Catholics have nice churches. And the Orthodox as well. Holy shit. Protestantism? You should cultivate a personal relationship with Christ. Well, doctrinally that might make sense, but drip and architecture-wise, I am left lacking. Holy shit, the Mormons are so bad. Well, they're Protestants. I don't give a fuck what Protestants say about it. They are. They're literally you. I don't care. They're the same damn thing. We need aura and hype moments. That's true. Southern churches are nice sometimes. Yeah, maybe in comparison to what they're built next to. There are some nice Baptist, there are some nice Protestant churches. There are some nice Lutheran, whatever. But like, come on, let's speak, you know, broadly. Yeah, I mean, there are nice churches in the UK and, you know, like Anglican or whatever, you know, that's after the split. This has been such a meandering stream, but I'm having fun. I hope you guys are too. I'm so excited to go to New York. Wait, you're moving to NYC? Yeah, then I'm moving back like 6 days after. Hey, super quick off topic before we move on. Can somebody tell me what the space dwarves in 40K are like? So one of my friends wants to build a 1,000-point army, and like, fuck yeah, dude, I'll get into it. Give me Astra Militarum with some with like a regiment from the Mechanicus. They're so good. But what's the doctrine? What's their doctrine? Techie heads? Whatever you want? That's not helpful. I hate their design, not gonna lie. Okay. I know what orcs are. I've played 40K. Don't worry. I just don't know. Do you mean lore or meta? Like when you play. like I just mean obviously like we know how orcs or Astra Militarum or whatever the fuck play, right? Yeah, it's just like are they very vehicle heavy? Space dwarves that are high tech but venerate their demigod machines. Wait, are they human? Like I know they're space dwarves. I know they're crushed by gravity. Are they human or space marines? They're mutants. Okay, gotcha. Okay. They're not space marines. Okay. So it'd have to be some pretty impressive gravity to crush space marines. They're a clone legion. I just didn't know if it was like I don't know, like a detachment of you know, a Primarch landed on a planet with 48 times Terra gravity, and over time the gene seed was like, well, what if we had an extra organ that made us fucking dwarf pilled or whatever? I don't know. They revolve around a grudge mechanic. Dwarves in any age, huh? Okay. There we go. Let's take this off. It's gonna warm in here. Really low unit count. Yeah. Dude, this shirt is so fucking light. Look, it's like a. Look at this. Look at how. See how it drapes. You see? I feel like I need to wear a jacket over this for it to look good because it's too close to my skin tone. I need to be like paler or something. All right, that's enough. Moving on. Excuse me. What's the plush shirt represent? The plush shirt, it's Imogene and Willie, which is one of my favorite brands. It's really nice. It's like a patch. See? You can see the stitching on the sides. It's done deliberately sloppily. Thought it was duct tape? That too. What's your opinion on ripped jeans? Sure. Anyone been enjoying the new Monster Hunter? Yes, it's very good. Apparently no one can run it. I bet my computer could. I've been wanting to get it, but I've been waiting to see what people say. I don't want to waste money if I'm not going to play it, because I did not play Monster Hunter Rise. I want to go back to my hammer build. I want to hit them with the hammer. Hammer sucks. You just haven't played it right. You suck with the hammer. I've also been playing Castlevania, one of the old Castlevania games. I don't remember. It was one of the ones on the DS, which I've been enjoying. I had like a craving to play Bloodstained on stream a little while ago, and then I thought, why not just, rather than replaying Bloodstained, why not play like Dawn of Sorrow? It might be Dawn of Sorrow. Oh, I'm playing the Dominus Collection too. Oh yeah, I think it's that, the Dominus Collection. I've never played Yakuza. When are we getting game streams? I can't. It's hard. Have you seen the output on the channel? Between the two main channels, it's been like 6 to 7 videos a day. Okay, this is a busy season. You know, I'm trying. I'm trying. You've been getting a lot of content. What's the other channel? The Vosh Pit, where like a ton of content goes. Oh, nice, Oak Tree. Happy to hear that. Damn, I think I'm kind of out of it, to be honest. You know what? We've been relaxing a little bit. I think I'm gonna read Donos. Yeah. Normally I would have taken a break today because I have other stuff going on Saturdays, but you know, I'm happy that I had some time. Rare dono read. Whoa. Got these docs in a whim. Want advice on how I can style them? You know, you didn't choose the easiest to style. I'll tell you that much. I mean, these are like Western style contrast stitched. I mean, you can wear these with a lot of things, but this is out of my wheelhouse. Show them. I don't have any issue with them. At least no more so than I have issues with docs in general. Like a very specific kind of vibe. Tough to style, though. All right, all right. Good Faith Goblin, thank you for the 4 gifted tier 1 subs. I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Kowalski and Twiz New Zealand. Thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Haven't locked my door in years. In summer, we just leave it open most of the time. With a bug nut, I hope. Nationalism is the betrayal of patriotism. Trump calls himself a nationalist. We're patriotic to oppose him. Long live the Republic. We do need to be draping ourselves in the flag a little bit if we're going to make it through this. Roland Child, thank you for the Tier 1 sub. Ravinger, thank you for the Tier 4 sub and the $10. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's from last stream. Thank you. My goodness. 50 Squiggly, thank you for the $5. Nuts! Thank you for the Tier 3 sub to the moon. Ooh. You been enjoying it? Been enjoying it? Damiel and Ennie, thank you for the 2 subs both. My God, Ennie! Hello. Hope you all are doing well. John 409, thank you for the 588 and for the Tier 4 sub. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Thank you kindly. Dr. Mod and King Kerplunk, thank you for the $5 both. Don Stera, thank you for the Tier 2 sub. Spokane Trans Guy here, going to my town hall meeting in 2 weeks because the one next week was canceled. I love you, Vosh. Keep up the great work. Hey, thank you. Hell yeah, I'm really happy to hear that. Be persistent, okay? Don't let circumstance get in the way, okay? We need to show up at those town hall meetings. You can do a lot of good over there, all right? If there's any lesson I want to drill in, it's that. It is worth participation. You know? It's worthwhile. Tree Bro and Two Dads Smooching, thank you for the Tier 1 subs both. Sake, thanks for the 5 Tier 1 subs. Very kind of you. Appalachian Anarchist, thank you for the $5. Braden G, thank you for the $10. Hey Vosh, hope you're doing well. Plan to get more involved in political action in DC. Also, baby. I do hear there's a lot of political action going on over in DC. Oh my goodness. Your baby has such big ears. Vroom. Little glorp antennas reaching out to the mothership. A Cosmic Dragon Lover, thank you for the $5. Thank you. Dr. Mod, thank you for the 569. I want to show you all my femsona and shout out the artist that drew it, Noel Shirai. You know what? Fuck it. Why not? Hell yeah. Not making a habit of showing femsonas, or any kind of sona actually, that are presented on chat. But I appreciate a good pair of paratrooper boots and cargo pants, so, you know. Hell yeah. Femsona, we know what you are. Yeah. Jack the Bruce, thank you for the $20. Very kind of you. Did you see Microsoft is dropping support for Windows 10 on October 14th? Will you update to Windows 11 or become a Linux user? Am I on Windows 10? I don't even know if I'm on Windows 10. I don't even know. I don't know. Am I? I think you're on 11. I don't fucking know. No, you're on 11? I don't know. Stupid fucking Windows. Is your taskbar centered? No, I have it to the left, but I might have changed that setting manually. Maybe. Smellany, thank you for the gifted Tier 1 sub. On Wednesday during the Missouri ACLU day, I wore a pretty cute pantsuit and felt like a femme queen. Nice, you look great in the pantsuit. Looking wicked. Markane, thank you for the Tier 3 sub. I heard liking, subscribing, and donating defeats global fascism. It does, yeah. Liking, subscribing, ringing the bell. Don't forget to ring the bell. It works. Horizon with the $5. If you're open to considering a hammer alternative for Monster Hunter. What's wrong with the hammer? If anything, I would go for like the gun lance, if not the... Because I like it when you get a big whack. You know? I like it when you got a big bada boom. That's my shit. Lulu, thank you for the very kind 2 gifted Tier 2 subs. My 17-years-old dog passed today. Made me realize how much she meant to me. Also, how much you changed my life for the better with your wisdom. Love to all. Thank you. That's really kind of you, and I'm sorry to hear that. 17 years, that's a good cut, though. Not to Oppression Olympics, but after this motherfucker, who I love dearly, kicked it after 5, and then now when people in chat are like, you know, my cat died after 18 years, I'm like, I'm sorry, and I am sorry, but internally I'm like, you motherfucker, you piece of shit. Hope you enjoyed every day past 5 years you got with them, you pieces of, you entitled motherfuckers. No, really, I'm sorry. Obviously, it's not. If I'd had Artemy for 20 years, it's not like when he died, it would have been like, well, he got 20 years. Okay, it's pretty much. It's just when you get a pet, you just accept. You're putting down like a down payment, right? On suffering, a little bit. Like eventually, you have to pay it back, unless you die before them. Then they'll be sad. Kamir Ma, thanks the tier 1 sub. Have you read any books / manga / magazines lately? I've been keeping up with Chainsaw Man, and not to spoil anything, but like, Denji, you motherfucker, you need to learn. You need to learn, okay? This can't keep happening. Denji, you can't keep doing this. You have to lock the fuck in. Please. These hoes ain't loyal. Yeah, the message of Chainsaw Man is never trust a woman, of course. No, it's not. It's good. It's very good. People are going to be doing deep dives on the property for a long time in the future. Because there's a lot of young people who are watching it now, and they're like, the point of Chainsaw Man is that it's cool and sexy babes are sexy. But when they grow up, they're going to be like, yo, I just rewatched my childhood favorite Chainsaw Man, and I just realized, I don't know, like, is Mikasa like a bad guy or something? And you're all going to roll your eyes, but for them, it'll be revolutionary. Did I say Mikasa? Makima, sorry. All right, there's a lot of super chats from yesterday, because yesterday, of course, we covered the crash out. Vector, thank you for the very kind 130 Swedish kronar. Thank you very, very much. Mortal Mike and Galactic Moth, thank you for the $5 both. Mike Duffy, thank you for the $2 donos. Andrew Mogeson, thank you for the €5. I've lived on this earth 36 years now. I've yet to see a more disastrous meeting, even between enemies. It was pretty bad. Yeah. Excuse me. Koski Quilzondom something. Thank you for the 30 Polish currency. A person from Poland here. I can tell. Love you guys. Also tearing up my US visa for my passport today. I definitely wouldn't recommend visiting anytime soon. Vector, you donated 65 kronar many times. Thank you very much. I'm thinking of the Russians, my Russian LGBTQI plus friends in exile who cannot go back to their motherland for fear of death. Yeah. Revolt. Vector, thank you very much for the very kind donos. It's pretty rage-inducing how far things have fallen. And the fact that I now live in a country that is in you know, the origin point of this schism. KJ the KJ, thank you for the $5. March 4th, starting at noon, mass protests planned for each state capital / major city. Please inform the viewers. Google 5051 movement. Yeah, they're still going. If you have one nearby, I recommend it. Ghost of Avalon, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate that. Mike Duffy, thank you for the $2. Andrew Mogeson with the €2. And Zed Spaceman, thank you for the $3 Australian. We should put the US under UN administration. Xi Jinping, please. Fire the missiles. Alexander, thank you for the 25 Polish currency. I really appreciate that. Diego B with the $5. Addiction relapse rates have to be at an all-time high right now. If you're pro-Ukrainian, it's definitely not a great time. But it is nice to see how much people consolidated behind Zelenskyy after, you know? Altered Image and Eris385, thank you for the $10 both. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Void Zero with the insanely kind $100 donation. Very incredible to witness a team of villainous caricatures come to real life in front of the whole world for us to see. Thanks, Vosh, for making this hellish experience more endurable every day. Yeah, it is. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys, okay? I also don't know what I would be doing with all of this if it wasn't for the fact that I can, you know, talk about it publicly. Like, just insanely despair-inducing if I didn't have an outlet to engage with. You know what I mean? So we're all in this together, really. Really, really. Meta, thank you for the $2. Thank you very much. The Superintendent, thank you for the 50 euros. Very kind of you. Blue Collar Welder here, funding the textile revolution. On the subject of Ukraine, my Ukrainian friends are stressed out by all this understandably, but nonetheless strong. Along with what support I can offer, my country of Ireland feels their pain. Yeah, Ireland's been pretty politically on the beat lately, I'll say, especially with regards to Gaza. Yeah, my understanding is that the Ukrainian people, for the most part, are like hardcore rallying behind Zelenskyy. So it's probably going to flag his numbers back up now that Zelensky's kind of like fighting a war on two fronts, you know? Ghost of Avalon and Still Alive, thank you for the $5 both. Alexander, thank you for the 50 Polish currency. I wish I remembered what the name of that currency is. Chat, perhaps you can help me out. Flop Bingus Republic, thank you for the $10. Do you think there's a possibility of a counter coup from the Trump administration within the government? I don't really think so, no. Zloty? Sloty? That's not easy to remember. Okay. You would need like competent democratic opposition. Like, what are you going to get from like a disgruntled general up against the whole Pentagon? With what public support, you know? Lee, thank you for the $10. Baffling how we're losing our allies, rights, aid, etc. Meanwhile, the cost of so many things are going up, yet the far right celebrates it as a win. The country is in shambles. Well, the far right just wants you to suffer. They don't really have any goals for this country outside you suffering. So they're getting what they want for now, but eventually, probably quite soon, you know, they're chipping away at the shared foundations, right? They will fall too. New victories ahead. Thank you for the $2 and $5. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the global reserve currency. Doomslayer 9316 with the $20. We love you. I love you too. Thank you. HR Lopez, thank you for the £2. Prairie Fire, thank you for the $7. How are we losing the Cold War 35 years after we won? I'm going to be real with you. I think this is us winning the Cold War. If you accept the Cold War as an ideological battle of state ownership versus private ownership, this is private ownership winning. Russia, as soon as the Soviet Union fell, Russia was, you know, divvied up amongst the oligarchs. Year over year in America, income inequality is skyrocketing. So, in a way, we're getting what we wanted, right? America was not communized. Russia was capitalized. Yippee! MT, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate that. Luffy Monkey, David Henry, and Zach of All Trades, thank you for the $5 all. Really appreciate that. Congratulations on recently publishing a book, Luffy Monkey. I know how hard that is. Wonderment within weirdness. I hope I'm really happy to hear that. It takes a lot of commitment to follow through on that. I was at the White House BLM protest. The media was focused on the one burning car instead of the peaceful protesters. They love doing that shit. They love doing that shit. They're complicit. I'm in treatment and I took cryo shots, which is stronger than Botox. I'm stretching and exercising as much to hopefully walk. Nice, David Henry. I'll try to get some exercise in after stream too. Do my best, you know? Oh, wait, hold on. Speaking of lesbians, I was thinking of them. It is crazy how, like, I'm not the only one who feels this way. I've been watching the first few episodes of the Harley Quinn show, or Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, whatever the name of the show is, kind of on a whim. And I don't know who the voice actress is, but I am, like, so attracted to Poison Ivy. I assume many people share this feeling. You know, not exactly unique to me. I'm not saying that I'm, you know, unique in this fashion. But it really is crazy how, like, heterosexuality is like a plague upon women, you know? Could you trust a woman who wasn't at least a little bit into women? I don't know. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up, check. Stand up, check. Stand up. Oh, what were you expecting to see, nuts? Huh? Stand up, check me. Stand up, check me. Like I couldn't instantly transfer the blood from my cock if I needed to. It doesn't mean anything to me, okay? You're giving me too much warning in advance. 5 seconds, that's all I need with the kind of penile control I have. You waking up and going to sleep every night doing Kegels? No? Don't come at me. Don't at me. Delete my number from your phone. Friggs Freeman, thank you for the €1. Flop Bingus Republic, thank you for the $5. Do you really think China will overtake us? Overtake? I don't know. That's kind of a complicated question. I think that right now China's projecting more global stability. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of depends on the metric and to what extent the GDP is even like a worthwhile metric to look at, you know? Sean, thank you for the $10. He may be a bumbling idiot that's actively dismantling the U.S. led world order, but you have to give it to him. He may have also single-handedly kickstarted the new European-led world order. Yeah. Look, okay, he's going to be hailed as a problematic king by, third worldists a few decades from now. I'll tell you that much. Flop Bingus, Tinsei Duress, and Galactic Moth, thank you for the $2 all. Been 1.5 months since you ranted on Biden and Dems. That's not true. I rant about Democrats pretty often, okay? To be fair, I give them a lot of hell. Definitely not Evie. Thank you for the €12. I really enjoy your content. Thank you. That's really kind of you. I really appreciate that. Europe is too weak. They don't even have an army. The combined army of the European Union is plenty sizable for self-defensive purposes, you know? Again, at the end of the day, nukes are what matter. Caleb Omega, thank you for the $5. No, Americans have been cognitively dissonant for some time. New victories ahead, HR Lopes, thank you for the $2 and pounds both. Record numbers of Yanks moving to Portugal and Spain. I expect we will see some kind of like exodus from this country over time. Slappa and Arcane Spaghetti, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. It's apparently illegal in Philadelphia for atheists to hold public office. It makes sense. There's a lot of old laws like that in the book. I doubt it would stand up to being challenged in court these days. You know. Carson Harvey, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. I really appreciate that. Vosh, it's my birthday. Could you say something mildly critical of Colombia so I can genuinely say you insulted my wife? Colombia. Fucked up how they did that school shooting back in the 90s. That wasn't good. That wasn't good. Mr. Venom 1998 and Galactic Moth, thank you for the $2 both. Really appreciate that. Carlos Ruiz, thank you for the $10. It's fun to see every lefty short of tankies flip from thinking this is a NATO shadow war to realizing this is a Russian imperialist project that Trump just signed up for. It took this long, SMH. Yeah, it is difficult to like pretend you're some kind of dissident communist, you know, anti-American campist or whatever the fuck when your position on Ukraine is shared by Marco Rubio in the State Department. That does make it a little difficult. Mark Lester, thank you for the $1. Bet, thank you for the 200 try. Again, sorry for spamming at the beginning of the stream. No, you're not. But if you have the time, can you bring attention to the new proposed laws in Turkey that outlaw any public queerness? I just have a lot on my plate right now. It's the reason why I opened the link you sent. I just didn't have much to say about it. I talk about it for like 2 minutes, you know? Proposed law? I don't know enough about Turkey's legislature or the likelihood of it passing or anything like that. I don't think it's going to pass. Turkey relies heavily on tourist dollars, you know? Something like that would cut down massively on its viability as a tourist destination. I just don't think it's likely. It's still shocking and audacious, but it's just mostly I don't have much to say about it, you know? I want to let you know it's my birthday tomorrow. Happy tomorrow birthday, a Cosmic Dragon Lover. I hope you're right. Well, I mean, I don't know, but I'm not as educated on Turkey as I am in the United States. Then again, I did say there was no way that House version of the budget framework bill passes, so maybe I don't know anything about anything. Still alive, thanks to $5. JD Vance has been heckled and protested like crazy in Vermont. Yeah, I saw that video, yeah. I don't know how much it amounts to. Jakey Fakey, thank you for the $5. Lurker rent for you. Thanks to you, my fits have only gotten cleaner. Check out a nifty site called Alpheric Eden. Get some gay shit. Also buy rings and bracelets, chat. Accessories are important to make your outfit look purposeful. Alpheric Eden Global Streetwear. Oh, this looks quite nice. I have to admit, I'm a little bit suspicious at how inexpensive it is. But it still looks nice. You know what I'm really fond of? Adidas dropped this this Chinese New Year specific, so it's not available in the West. This Chinese New Year specific knitwear collection of like athletic tracksuits, but they're sweaters. I think that's really nice. I think they're nice. The Stavros was wearing this really nice teal velvet tracksuit, and it really made me want to get a nice tracksuit. Never worn velvet, though. You taking the watch pill yet? I want a watch. I just haven't gotten one yet. Sweat mixed with wool, ew. Well, you wouldn't... Well, first of all, wool actually makes for good athletic wear. It doesn't hold on to odors the way synthetics do. But also, these aren't for working out. These are for looking cool in, you know. I wouldn't work out in an expensive, you know, yeah, for lounging. More breathable. Synthetic fibers hold odors more because the odors are usually captured. The odors are the oils in your body getting fed upon by bacteria. So when you sweat or just exist, you're producing oils. They get caught in the fibers of the clothing that you're wearing. They're attracted to stuff like polyester because polyester is made out of, you know, oil essentially. And then it gets like stuck in there, and then the smell is from bacteria that fester on it. Wool is naturally bacteria repellent, so it doesn't smell. One of the reasons why you can get away with not washing it very much. I'd love a Seiko, yeah. What's your opinion on rarely washing higher quality clothes? You can, I only wash like my t-shirts irregularly. I don't sweat that much. If I'm working out in something, I'll wash it right after. Underwear, socks, obviously. But like as a general rule, we overwash clothing. High quality clothing, depending on what it is or what layer it is, like what, you know, how you're using it, it just doesn't need to be washed that often. Well, clothes are best in wool? I mean, you can have anything in wool. I don't know. Also, deodorant can stain. Yeah, deodorant can stain your shit. Sometimes permanently. Anyway, Senua Psychosis, thank you for the $5. Looking at countries my GF and I can move to. I speak French and heard Thai. Well, not the best option. It is nice that Canada seems to be more of a real option now. Yeah, you know, it's... Look, man, we're living in the times, you know? It's definitely important to keep your options open. Lazo, thank you for the $6.90. Making connections in my city council and getting involved in local political action. I was already on this grind, but you've been inspiring to continue. Hashtag Dark Woke. I'm really happy to hear you've been getting out there. It's incredibly important work. Thank you. No, I mean it. Well, thank you for the dono, but also thank you for getting out there and putting the work in, you know? It's necessary if we're going to get out of this mess. Eventually we'll get out of this mess. You know, it's the hope, at least. Vector, thank you for the 27 Swedish kronar. Stavi, true. It was a great show. Prairie Fire, thank you for the $5. The U.S. is at war. Either our empire will defeat the Republic or the Republic will maintain control of the empire. Well, on a long enough timeline, you know, nothing ends, right? Cool B, thank you for the $10. Hey Voosh, I went door knocking today for the upcoming Wisconsin Supreme Court election. Other volunteers were really nice. I had a good time, just felt like sharing. It felt good to stop dooming and do stuff. Nice! I'm really happy to hear that. See, chat, look at all the positive endorsements that you're seeing of getting out there and doing stuff. What are you doing right now? Masturbating half-heartedly with one hand while listening to me on your second monitor, and with your first monitor you're playing Monster Hunter, not World, not Rise, whatever? Wilds? Go do shit. Steven, thank you for the $10. I'll be enjoying my recent $400 order of Bully Hygiene products, Cologne, Paris, France. I'm laying in a unicorn onesie, making fresh pesto pasta, drinking wine, watching Vosh react to our nation's downfall. I have no idea what Bully Hygiene products, Flown, Paris, France are, but I hope you're enjoying them. I do know what a unicorn onesie is. You know, I can assemble that image in my mind. What matters is that we're all having fun. The tire is spinning. Jamette, thank you for the $20. That's very kind of you. Vosh, I got some American-made boots on Amazon after signing up for their credit card. Gave me $100 off for signing up, and I plan to never carry a balance or use the card. Did I cuck Bezos, or am I just another consumer? Look, sometimes they do give you pretty sweet credit card opening benefits. I don't know if you like somewhere in the fine print you agreed to like give up your firstborn to the company or something. If you're taking advantage of the deals, go for it. I've got a friend who's really in on that, like open a credit card for this benefit or for that. Like you pay to open this credit card, it's like a yearly fee, but you get like $300 in benefits. So you use them and then don't use it again. Like if you have the presence of mind to take advantage of those benefits, then I say you're proceeding in a high IQ fashion. What else can you do? All right, folks. I love you all very much. I'll be here tomorrow as well, as I will be continuously until my New York City vacation. Got to make the content. Everyone take care, drink some water, go out there, do political action, etc., etc., but also enjoy your Saturday or your Sunday if you're European, some kind of European, I don't fucking know. Take care.